Good morning, everyone. All right, let's go ahead and get started here today. And all right, let's get that off. And there we go. There it is. Hello, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L. Method International. And if you are autistic or know someone who is autistic, you want to listen to this show and you want to encourage everybody that you know that is autistic or knows someone who is autistic. They want to listen, they want to watch this show because I have autism spectrum disorder. I was diagnosed late. And if you want to know how you can thrive with autism spectrum disorder, you can actually find out that for a lot of people, it's a superpower. It has allowed me to see things in amortization schedules that no one else sees. It's not taught anywhere else but here. When it comes to borrowing money, the lending process, to banking, this is the biggest revelation since amortization started in the US in 1936. No one is teaching this anywhere. No one else sees it. Listen, I listen to podcasts about finances. I listen to, I watch documentaries. I watch CNBC, and everyone thinks about interest rates and borrowing the same way. The way to save money through borrowing is to get cheaper interest rates. I'm here to tell you that I'm going to go over some things that will go against everything that you've ever been taught about borrowing money, about how banking works, about how lending works, and it's all going to be through the eyes of an autistic person. So if you have autism or know somebody who does, you want to be here today. All right? So with that said, why don't we go ahead and get started? So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about mortgages, how mortgages and other debt are paid off in about 7 years through Autism Insights. Things that I see that other people do not see, but I'm making it known to you. And let's go over, can I go over just a short list of some of the things that we're going to be talking about that I see that others don't see. Are you ready? Now, I'm going to go over the list first, and I don't know if we'll be able to touch on every single thing today. But if I don't get a chance to finish everything today, I need you to come to Orlando January 31st to learn more, all right? So if you want, let me put this on the screen, P.I.L.Lars of Prosperity Conference, January 31st. It's coming up fast, folks. So I'm going I'm going to put a banner across the screen so that you are able to get your ticket today. Get it today. Don't wait. All right. So let's go ahead and put this across the screen. If you want more information, call this number. Put this, text the word PILL to 256-215-9496, because we're going to be learning some things today that just goes against everything all of the experts are teaching, everything that your parents taught you, everything that your professors taught you, everything that's talking about that they talk about on the news, everything about borrowing money is incorrect. It makes the banks trillions of dollars, and it gets us to become complicit in our own victimization, because this is how we learn it, this is how we teach it, and this is how we practice it. And the way that we do all of that makes the banks trillions of dollars. And I'm going to tell you how to stop it, how you can cut your interest costs by 75%, how you can borrow money at a discount, how you can pay off all of your debt, your mortgages, your student loans, your credit cards, everything in about 7 years, once you understand how it works. And let's go over some of the things right here. So go ahead, get ready. I know I won't be able to finish today, so text the word PILL to 256-215-9496 for conference information. Also, let me put this across the screen. If it's easier to do this, you can go to Pop Clive, that's POP, that stands for P.I.L.Lars of Prosperity Conference, live.com to get tickets. Go there to get tickets today. So let me go ahead and start going over this list. All right. Number one, the lowest interest rates are definitely not the best interest rates. The lowest interest rates are not the best interest rates. In fact, they are the worst interest rates if you are trying to save money. If you're trying to save money, the lowest interest rates, not where you want to be. Okay. They actually make it harder to pay off the loan. I'm going to show you. Excuse me. Never pay cash for a house or a car. Just don't do it. It's cheaper to borrow the money when you borrow it right. Okay. Never pay cash. Okay. You want to know what the very best loan is? I know it goes against everything you've ever been taught, but the very best loan is called an interest-only loan. Okay, that's three things so far. Let me recap the first three. The lowest interest rates, not the best interest rates. Stop trying to wait around for the lowest interest rates. Stop trying to get the lowest interest rate. They're not the best. Okay, never pay cash for a house or a car. Don't do it. All right. And interest-only loans are the best loans. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? Okay, I see you down in there on Clubhouse. All right. And if you are watching me online right now, go ahead and put your name and the city that you're watching me from. Okay, I want to see that. I want to shout you out. Okay, so go ahead and put your name in the comment section. Okay, here's the next thing you want to know. You want to do better on a loan. Here's what you need to do. Control the principal payment and you control the loan. Interest payments you skip don't matter. Control the principal payments. So when you have principal payments, okay, countdown to Orlando. I see you, buddy. All right. When you control the principal payments, you control the loan. And how do you control the principal payments? You want smaller principal payments and larger interest payments on your loans, because it's the principal payments that control the loan, not the lower interest rates. I'm going to show you where you should be looking and not where the financial institutions want you to look. Stop it right now. Okay, let me tell you who doesn't know how to, just two of the gurus that are leading people astray on interest rates, on borrowing money. Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, and anyone else who's teaching this thing, they're not focusing on the right thing. They're focusing on the debt. Okay, they should be focusing on what it costs to manage the debt. That's the interest cost on the loans. And you manage these loans by managing the interest cost. I'm going to show you how to manage interest costs today. Okay. Always borrow money for the longest term possible. What? Yes. Always borrow money for the longest term, not the shortest term. The shortest term will hurt you. The longest term gives you more options, and you're able to save more money and pay off the loan sooner if you get a loan with the longest term possible. So if you're getting a car loan, for instance, and you have an option between 84 months and 60 months, you better take that 84 month and pay it off early. Yes. Get 7 years on your car and pay off in 2 or even 1. Let's show you how to do that today. Stop getting short-term loans. They hurt you when you don't know what's going on. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh my goodness. This one will blow your socks off. People with perfect credit. That's people with perfect credit. I mean, 800, 850, 825. People with perfect credit are fooled into paying 200 to 300% interest on their loans without even realizing it. How can that happen? How can people be fooled into paying 200 to 300% interest on loans and not even realize it? Let's talk about it today. All right. Here's another one that most people will fight me on. And here's one. Never, ever get a 15-year mortgage. Just don't do it. There is absolutely no reason ever to get a 15-year mortgage. And Dave Ramsey is saying, if you can't afford a 15-year mortgage, you can't afford the house. That is the biggest lie on the planet right now. Don't ever believe that. Don't ever get a 15-year mortgage. It is hurting you. I don't care if you can afford it. It's hurting you because you're going to pay more interest than you need to pay. What good is paying off a loan in 15 years and find out that you paid $30,000 or $40,000 more in interest than you needed to pay? Okay. So folks, I need you to start sharing this. Oh, let me make sure I'm putting everything on the screen that needs to be on the screen. Okay. So I need you all to start sharing this room, my show with everybody. And I need you, if you're here for the first time, go ahead and subscribe. Okay. So let me go ahead and put that on the screen. Okay. So subscribe to the P.I.L.L. Method channel and start telling people about it, because we're going to get into some numbers here. I'm going to show you what I mean, but I wanted to give you some idea of what we're talking about. Okay. All right. Here's another one. And it's getting ready to happen in the not too distant future. Never, ever refinance to a lower rate. Don't do it. If you're refinancing just to get a lower rate, don't do it. Absolutely not. Okay. And that's what's getting ready to happen. Right now, rates are around 7%. Okay. They're around 7%. And when they drop to 6.5, when they drop to 6, when they drop to 5.5, people are going to be refinancing all over the place to get the lower rate. You need to check with me first. Please do. Give us a call at 256-886-1867, 256-886-1867 before you ever refinance, because somebody is trying to entice you with a lower rate. Okay. Think about this. Okay. Here's another thing you need to think about. If by refinancing, you're supposed to be saving money, then who has to be losing it? Do you realize when the rates fall, your own bank or mortgage company or credit union, wherever your mortgage is, do you realize that if they have you locked in at about 7%, why would they ever offer you, your own bank, your own institution, the institution that holds your mortgage? Why would they ever offer you a lower rate? It really doesn't make sense if you stop to think about it. Because at a higher rate, you're supposed to pay them more interest. So why would they come and say, you know what? You need to save money. Let me offer you a lower interest rate. Okay. Don't do it. Find out what's really going on here, folks. I need you to see the numbers. Okay. Let me see here. You are paying in your family. I need you to go ahead and do the math on this. Out of your income, the average family is paying 35 to 39% of their income on interest alone and not even realizing it. That's what we call interest consumption. What's your interest consumption? How much of your income is paying just the interest portion on your loans? Because even though you can afford the payment, too much of that payment is going to interest. And you need to know how much of your payments are going to interest by adding up all the interest payments on all of your loans, because the average family has about 13 different debts. Think about it. 13 different debts. And this is what I see through my autism. Okay? This is what I see through my autism. You can pay all of this off in 7 to 9 years. Okay? What else can we talk about today? And hopefully we'll get a chance to go over each one. Credit cards are better than debit cards. What? Yes. Credit cards are better than debit cards. Debit cards are your emergency cards. Credit cards are your everyday cards, and they can save you money if you know how to do it. This is what I see through Autism Insights. And I'm going to share some of my insights with you today. Okay? Cash is not king. A wise use of somebody else's money is the way to go. Borrow money at 75% off. So let's go ahead and get started on showing you some of the things that I've been talking about today. Okay? So we're going to put that on the screen. All right. All right, we're going to share that. Let's bring up our good friend Brett Whistle and start at the top. Okay. I started with the lower interest rates are definitely not the best interest rates. And this is what I see through autism. Now, again, if you have a child that has autism, that's been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, I'm going to tell you, I had difficulty in school. But because of my autism, I found out that I have a superpower. And my superpower is I see things in pictures and patterns, not just amortization schedules, but a lot of things that I see in pictures and patterns. And because of that, I am in a situation, a position to explain things to you that most people can't see. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put a $400,000 mortgage. No. Let's start with 200,000. We'll start with 200,000 at 7%. Okay. And I'm going to put that on the screen for you right now. All right. Let's go ahead and change this up. so that you guys can see it. There we go. All right. 200,000 at 7%. And let's go over it in detail. Today, we're going to go over it in detail. I see more people coming in to Clubhouse online here. All right. And you know what? Let me do this. I need to improve my sound here. Let me do this. Improve my sound on Clubhouse. All right. And let's see here. Hold on for a second. Let me do this. Okay. My sound should be improved now. Okay. On Clubhouse. So anyway, great. So folks, here's what I need you to understand. If you are in Clubhouse, I need you to come to the stage right now so that you can learn more about how autism has helped me. And if you have autism, or you have a child, or know someone who has a child with autism, let's give them some hope. Because even though I had difficulty in school, there is now more support for children with autism and adults with autism. So if you have autism, find out what your superpower is, because this is my superpower, and I'm sharing it with you today. The insights that I see here that no one else sees. Okay, so we have a $200,000 mortgage at 7%. And one of the things that we need to focus on is this: 7% isn't what we think it is. Okay, people hear a interest rate and they think that's what they're dealing with. But let's break this loan down the way it's supposed to be broken down. So let's start here with the summary. This is what you see when you close on a loan. 200,000. The interest paid on this loan over 30 years is $279,000. First of all, this number is not 7% of this number. Okay, it is 139.508% of that number. So already interest rates are a liar. You need to understand how that works. Can I break this down for you? If you want to know how the bank turns this into 279,000 on a $200,000 loan, making the total payoff on this loan $479,000. If you want to know how to figure that out, put a number 9 in the comment section or in the chat. I will show you the math that is being used to figure this out. Put a number 9 in the comment section. I see Daniel 9. Okay, all is well. Another day gaining information. Okay, Don Lucci says number 9. Okay, so we got some folks online that are doing it. If you want to see these numbers, let me get you the link. I'm going to put the link. Let me see here. Get a new window here. I've got to get the link on YouTube so that you guys can see. I'm going to put it at the top of the screen so you guys can see it. All right, so we're going to copy the link here, and we're going to put it at the top of the room. So let me do that. Okay. There we go. All right, that's our YouTube link. That's the link to our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch these numbers, get a separate device so that you can see these numbers. Okay. And let's break this down the way it's supposed to be broken down. I'm going to go over these things in detail. If I can't finish, I'm sorry. All right. It is only because I need all of you to know what's really going on behind the scenes. When I see you, Tamara Thomas, watching us on YouTube. Okay, great. Watch these numbers. I'm putting a calculator on the screen. So let's take 7%. Okay. That's 0.07. 0.07 divided by 12 equals 0.0058 and a bunch of threes after that. Okay. So if you want to know how this is done, this is how they do it. They take your principal balance and multiply it by 1/12 of the interest rate. So if we take this number and multiply it by 200,000, it equals $1,166.67, because the third number here is a 6. We have to round this second number up to a 7. Let's take a look at the first interest payment here. $1,166.67, which means only $163 of your payment. Your total payment here, okay? Your total payment here is $1,330. $1,330.60. And out of that, $1,166.67 is applied to interest, which leaves only $163.93 to go to principal. I need to break this down even more. This is what I see when I look at this thing, and this is what I'm trying to share with people. Listen, it goes so far against the grain when intelligent people, people who have been in business for a long time, when they first hear about it, they say, no, that can't be. But the numbers don't lie. So let's break this down even more. I'm going to put my calculator back on the screen, and I'm going to put I got the first interest payment here is 1166.67, and our total payment is $1,330.60. So if we take our first interest payment and divide it by the total payment, which is $1,330.60, we get 88%. 88% of your payment is interest. This is where the banks make their money. This is where the banks make their money. Trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars. So if you understand what I just said, for every dollar you put up, make your principal and interest payment, your PI payment, okay, 88% or 88 cents out of every dollar goes to interest. And only 12 cents out of every dollar is paying your mortgage off. That is ridiculous the way it's set up. And the only way that that can continue is if we are uneducated as to how a mortgage or amortization schedule actually works. So what I'm saying is we can take this same loan and make it work for us. Math is not just a one-way street, ladies and gentlemen. It's a two-way street. And once you understand how math works, you can make it work for you. You can make it work for yourself. So here's what we need to do today. So remember, today, I'm going to show that the lowest interest rates are not the best interest rates. That's the first one we're dealing with right now. In fact, even though this looks bad, 88% of your payment goes to interest and only 12 cents goes to 12% goes to principal. I like this loan. Yeah, I do. I like it because of the configuration, because there's a small principal payment. Because it's like this, I can show you how you can benefit from this loan at 7%. So let me say this. If you're waiting around for interest rates to fall before you buy a house, stop doing that. If you can afford the payment, get the 7% loan. Listen, I don't care even if you're dealing with a builder that says, we'll buy down your rate to 5.5% or 5%. Don't let them do that either. Say, listen, that money that you're going to use to buy those points, listen, pay my closing costs instead. The money I was going to have to pay my closing costs. Use that money elsewhere. But if they're trying to um, bring you from 7% or close to 7% down to 5.5 or 5, listen, don't let them do it. If you can afford the payment, take the 7% loan all day, because if you do, you'll have a small principal payment. Okay. So with a small principal payment, when you make your mortgage payment, the very first one, I need you to see your next principal payment would be $164.89. With prepaying that, meaning before the next payment is due, you can prepay as little as $164.89, prepay it in the same month you made your first payment. And that money is applied to principal. So all of your money goes to principal. So you're paid down to the second line on your amortization schedule, where you owe $199,671.18 right here. Okay. Now, what does that really mean? Here's what's going on. Every time you make a payment, you are gaining potential equity, right? You're creating more distance between how much you owe and how much the house is worth. The house is worth this. And what you're doing is every time you pay, you're decreasing how much you owe, which should increase your equity. I need to show you how you're buying your equity, especially if you are a real estate investor. Here's how you're buying equity. You're getting $163 worth of equity here, but your payment is being discounted by over $1,100. Well, that's how much it costs to get $163.93 in equity. You see, my autism sees this. And this is how I believe we should look at it. If you're paying your loan down by $163.93 and they're charging you $1,166.67 of your hard-earned money to get it, I got to ask, folks, what good is that? What good is it when you have to do that? But when you look at it this way, you make your first payment here. And if let's call this January's payment, February's principal payment would be $164.89. But if you pay it ahead of time, as little as $164.89, pay it before February, they have to apply that money to principal once you direct them to do that. Apply it to principal, and you're paid down to here immediately. And you skip over line 2. Line 2 is canceled on your amortization schedule, and the interest is canceled. $1,165.71 is also canceled. You don't have to pay it. So look at it this way. On line 1, it costs you to get this equity. If you give this money to the bank early, then this equity didn't cost you a dime. You got it absolutely free. No charge. Because when you give money to the bank when they're not expecting it, you make it impossible for them to charge you interest on that amount that you owe. Because here's what they want to do. They want to charge you interest on every single line of your amortization schedule, because you don't know what happens when you prepay. You know you can prepay. You know you can pay more, but you don't know what you're getting for it. In fact, when you prepay $164.89, it saves you $1,165.71 in interest you do not have to pay. This is what my autism sees. Okay? And I'm sharing it with you today. So if you are in the room and you have autism spectrum disorder, all right, come on in. If you are watching us on and you want to come into my studio on YouTube, let me go ahead and invite you to come to the stage. All right. Into the studio audience. So I'm going to put a link here in YouTube and Facebook. There's a link. Okay. Use that link. All right. Copy and paste it into a Chrome browser, and you'll be able to come into the show if you have autism. All right. Or know somebody who does. Listen, I want to talk to all my autism people. All right. I want to talk to all, because there's somebody out there that's making autism look bad today. Okay. His name is Elon Musk. Okay. He has autism, but right now he's making autism look bad. Okay. We're trying to turn the tables on that today. Okay. So come on in. I see somebody who is an educator here. All right. Let's see. So anyway, come on up to the stage. And if you have a question, I see some people on the stage. I see San is here. I see Daniel here in the clubhouse. San, can you speak to us today? Do you have something to say? All right. How about you, Daniel? Oh, there you go, San.
Everyone, peace and blessings. Thank you. Listening, I did not know this, but I thank you for this information. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, listen, we've got a lot more. How about you, Daniel? Okay. Okay. It's okay. So he says he can't speak, but he's listening. Jonathan Bing, how are you this morning? All right. Jonathan is busy. I need some more people to come up to the stage and talk to me today, especially if you know somebody who has autism. All right. So watch this. We're digging down deep here today. You know, I've talked to people even in this room that said, you know, Don, why would I do anything with a loan, especially if I'm a real estate investor, when I can make 20% on my money, 20% cash on cash return, 15% cash on cash return? Why should I do anything to pay the loan off faster? And what I'm trying to tell people is stop looking at paying the loan off faster. What you need to be doing is paying the loan off cheaper. Okay, because what you're doing is buying money. When you buy anything else, okay, when you buy gasoline, you want to get more gas for your money. When you go to the grocery store, you want to get more groceries per dollar. When you buy energy, you want to have more energy per dollar. You want your dollar to stretch as far as it possibly can. That's what you want, right? When you buy tires, when you go to Costco, when you go to Sam's Club, I want my dollar to stretch as far as it possibly can go to buy me more stuff with $1. But when it comes to buying money, we are fooled into paying retail all the time, and we don't have to. Here's what I'm saying, folks. Here's how you get to manipulate a higher interest rate to make it work for you. So when you know that I can prepay $164.89 and my benefit is $1165.71 that I don't have to pay, let me show you how to figure ROI, my return on my investment. Because if you prepay that money, I need you to look at it as an investment in your future. Okay, so what you'll do is put the interest you save, $1,165.71. Okay, that's interest you're going to save. So, and then you subtract the $164.89 that you had to pay to get that. So we're going to be talking about what is my net benefit. Okay, I invested $164.89. I eliminated one line from my mortgage. I saved $1165.71 that I never have to pay. So we're going to subtract $164.89 equals $1,000.82. So now we take that and divide it by what we invested. Okay. 164.89 equals 6.06. And then we multiply this number by 100. That's a 606% return, almost a 607% return on your money. Invest $164.89, and you don't have to pay interest on that. You save that interest, $1,165.71. That's a 600% return on your money. Where else can you invest $164 and turn it into $1,000? Where else can you do that in such a short period of time? Okay. So now here is what we hear next. And I need you to see what my autism sees, because there are people out there right now that are saying, you know, Don, you don't realize that savings until 30 years from now, or until you pay off the loan. Well, that's not true either. That's a big lie. Here's what I mean by that's a big lie. Okay, my loan, Tamara Thomas. Okay, I guess you want me to do some math on that. Okay, Tamara, I need to know what your principal and interest payment is. Okay, give me that. Go ahead and put that in there. This is what Tamara is putting on, is sending me right now. Okay, I think she wants us to do use her loan as an example. So find out what your principal and interest payment is, and then I can use your loan as an example too. All right, on this, so I can start from where it started. All right, we'll go into that. Okay, so find that out and post that for me too. Okay. So now, when you do this, folks, a penny saved, a penny saved is a penny earned. But when you do it in your mortgage, a penny saved is like 10 pennies earned, because the interest you don't have to pay to get something, you can actually reinvest that somewhere else. Let me show you what I mean by you do not have to wait 30 years to realize this savings. And because the money is not in my bank, because I don't have $1,165.71, I'm not increasing my bank account by that much money. People see that as not being beneficial. All right. So let's go ahead and bust that myth right now. Are you ready? Here's how we're going to bust it. So I need you to take a look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest on this loan. Look at that. When you look at this, in 1 year, if you add up all the principal payments, it comes to $2,031.55. The interest added up costs $13,935.65. Okay. So in the first year, you will pay out, okay? In the first year on this loan, if you're not careful, that's $1,330.60 times 12. That's a total of $15,967.20. $15,000 paid out in the first year on this loan. But how much credit do you get? Only $2,031.55. So I need everybody to tell me, does it cost $15,000, $15,967 in interest to pay your loan down to line 12? I need a yes or a no. Does it cost $15,967.20 in interest? Paid out. Okay. I'm sorry. $15,000 you have to pay out to get to here, which means $13,935 is interest. Does it cost $13,000 in interest to pay it down to here? Does it cost $13,000? $13,900, almost $14,000? Yes or no? Okay, put it in the chat. Put it in the comment section. Does it cost $13,000 in interest to pay it down to here? Out of your 15 grand? Oh my goodness. $15,967. Does it cost you $13,900 in interest? Yes, it does. So let me then ask this. San B says, yes, it does. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. She says, yes, it does. So let me do this for you. If I give this bank this $2,031.55 up front, Amari Park says yes too. Okay. If I give the bank that up front, guess what happens? Let's do the math. Okay. I have a $200,000 loan. Okay. I got a $200,000 loan. And I'm going to subtract. Okay. I'm going to subtract the principal payment, the entire principal for 1 year on this loan, according to the amortization schedule. So I'm going to subtract $2,031. Okay. $2,031.55 equals 197,968.45. That's exactly what I have on line 12. Okay. So I need you to see this, ladies and gentlemen. If I give this to the bank on line 1, am I paid down to line 2? Am I line 12 in 1 month? Okay. So if I'm paid down to here in 1 month, is it possible for it to cost me $13,935.65 in interest to pay it down to here? If I give them this money up front, will it cost me $13,935 in interest to pay it down to here? Do you see what I'm saying? I skip all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12 are canceled if I give them this money on line 1. They have to subtract it from it. And this is my new number. So I go from 200,000 all the way down to 197,968 in 1 month, which means my next mortgage payment is on line 13 of the schedule. So how much interest did it cost me if I give them this money up front? It cost me $1,166.67 in interest to pay it down to here. It didn't cost me $13,009. So for everyone who says you don't realize that money until 30 years from now, show them this example. Did it cost me $13,900 to do it the bank's way? And if I give them that money up front, did it cost me $13,000 to pay my loan down to here? No, it does not. It only cost me $1,166.67. I would much rather pay that than the $13,900 that people are being fooled into. See, we are fooled into doing this, ladies and gentlemen. My autism sees through it. I can't even take credit for that. That's how God made me. So I don't see things the regular way. So does this make sense to you? That if you are even a real estate investor, if you are a home buyer, does it make sense that I'm going to get $2,000 in equity and I have to pay nearly $14,000 to get it if I do it the bank's way? Or if I have it, I could give it to the bank up front and only pay $1,166.67. Do you realize that's a $12,779.81 savings? So look at it this way, ladies and gentlemen. If I pay my mortgage the way that the bank wants me to, I'm losing money every single month. Why should you lose money when you don't have to? Okay. So this is why if I can't see, people are saying, listen, if I can't see money coming into my bank account, then it's not real. But what is real here is that I'm losing money every single month. 88% of every dollar I'm giving the bank here, I'm losing to interest. I want to stop losing money. I want to get a bigger bang for my buck. I want to pay my loan down to here for a little over $1,000, not nearly $14,000. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. Now, let's talk about why I love this interest rate. Why I love the 7% interest rate. Sam B, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Why do I love the 5%? Why do I love the 7% interest rate? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate this tab. Okay. I'm going to duplicate this tab and I'm going to put this loan in at 5%. I'm going to show you what lowering the interest rate does to this loan. Okay. This is what people are fooled into seeing. All right. And I'm going to remove these advertisements because they can be distracting. Okay. Now, this is what we're fooled into seeing. I'm going to do the comparison side by side. Okay. 7% and 5% on a 30-year loan, $200,000. Do you see this? See this payment? At 5% is $1,073.64. This is how it's sold. At 7%, look at this. It's $1,330.60. Look at that payment. It's a lot higher. It's a lot higher than it is at 5%. Look at this. It's only $1,073. Let me take you down to the summary, okay? Where we see that how much interest does the bank want over 30 years? $279,000 on the 7% and $186,000 on the 5%. This is how it's sold to you. I need you to start thinking this way. If you are going to make all 360 payments, then you want the lowest interest rate if you want to stay in this mortgage for 30 years. But if you follow the P.I.L.L. method, you can get out of this debt in about 7 to 9 years. So all of these numbers don't apply. They don't. If you can pay this loan off in 7 years, that means you're paying about 75% less interest, which means more of your money that you already make goes to pay down the loan because less of it is paid towards interest. They can't discount your payment if you pay them ahead of time. If you give them money before they expect it, they can't charge you. And this is what my autism sees. So again, if you have somebody if you know somebody who is autistic, have them watch this show. Because listen, I'm going to be in Orlando in at the end of this month, January 31st. I'm already booking a new speaking engagement coming up in March. I'm going to be in Philadelphia in March 20th, and I think that's the 20th and the 21st. All right. So I'm getting the contract. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be speaking at a conference there. So I'll give you more information on that conference in March. And so as I get more and more speaking engagements, we're going to put it on the website so you'll know what city I'm going to be in. All right. And what the dates are. If you know someone who's looking for a keynote speaker, listen, give them my name. I would love to be able to talk to them. Okay, so now watch this. Let's get back to this. The 5% seems to be winning here. A 93% mortgage versus 139%. But remember what I told you about how mortgages work. Control the principal payment and you control the loan. Do you see how tiny the principal payments here are? You see how tiny that is? We start out at $163.93. Look at the 5% loan. $240, $241. Even though the interest payments are smaller, but my principal payment is higher. Which means if I want to eliminate one line from my mortgage, I have to come up with a whole $241.31 here to eliminate this $800. On this loan, all I need to do is come up with $164.89. So at the higher interest rate, your prepayment dollars do more work for you. They cancel more interest per dollar and eliminate more payments with less money. Watch this. So at the 7% loan, if you're fortunate enough to have a little over $2,000 in the bank, making 1/10 of 1%, $2,031.55. You apply that after you make your first payment, you're paid down to here in 1 month. It knocks off a whole year and saves you over $12,700 in interest. But $2,000 on the 5% loan. I want to prove it to you. This is the 5% loan. See here? 2,000. Look here. Between 8 and 9 months. Look at here. I need to go back. $2,031 right here. About it only knocks off about 8.5 months. The same amount of money. So the lower the principal payment, the more traction you can get on this loan and the more damage you can do to the banks. Do you want to be in a position where you can beat the bank at their own game and stop letting them charge you all of that money for your entire life? You see, this is not taught in high school. It's not taught in college. It's not taught in business school, how to read an amortization schedule. This is huge. It's not being taught anywhere else on the internet. If you go to YouTube, this is the only channel that teaches this, only because it's not because I went to business school. I don't have a business degree. I have autism. And this is what I see. All right. So I just learned the other day that Richard Nixon, to win re-election, encouraged the Fed chair to lower interest rates, and inflation started going through the roof. And to combat inflation, okay, I can't remember what month it was, but it was in the 70s. Interest rates got as high as 18%. 18%. The median home price was $70,000 across the nation. I'm going to show you. All right, Tamara Jones, I see the rest of your information. Okay, so we're gonna do your thing next. Okay, so let me put this in, and I need you to help me. If you want to come to the stage, raise your hand. Come to the stage. We'll bring you up. Okay, and I'll show you how people who got these loans, where their median home price was $70,000. So that's what we're going to put in, 70 grand. And interest rates at their peak got to 18%. That's if you had good credit. Okay. For a 30-year mortgage. Let me show you this. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, before today, if you're new to this room, if you're new to the P.I.L.L. method, all right, I need you to start subscribing to this channel. Subscribe, and watch all the other information that we have here. Okay. Do you see here at $70,000 at 18%? If they keep the loan for 30 years, the bank is going to make $309,000 in interest on this thing. That's for people who don't know. That means that the total interest paid as a percentage of principal is 442.5%. Yes, it's legal. Yes, but you don't have to pay it. Let me show you what this loan looks like. I need you to see this now. If you're not seeing it, you need to see it. You need to go to YouTube or Facebook or whatever you need to do to see what I have here. Do you see the principal payment? The very first principal payment is $4.96. The second one is $5.03. So in the first year, the principal payments go from $4.96 with a $1,000 interest payment down to $5.84 in month 12. If you weren't in this room, if you weren't able to take advantage of autism today, Autism Insights, if you weren't able to take advantage of that today, you would look at this and it would scare you. But now, what do you see? That if I make this mortgage payment, if I prepay $5.03, $5.03 prepaid eliminates $1,049.93 in interest I never have to pay, and $5.03 eliminates line 2 of this mortgage. Boom, gone. If I make my first mortgage payment here in January and I give the bank an extra $5.03, $5.11, the next 3 principal payments, a little over $15. $15 prepaid kills over $3,000 in interest on this loan. Folks, that's exactly how it works. I'm not afraid of high interest rates. I just need to know that I can make the payment and get me into a mortgage that I can thrive on. Now, am I saying get the highest interest rates available? No. But I'm certainly saying don't get the lowest rates available. Get the right interest rate for you. And here at the P.I.L.L method, we can help you to get the right interest rate. So what do? We got a little commercial for you right now because I've been on an hour. So we got to play a little commercial. And we got, let's see, Eric Thomas is going to come on and talk to us how he paid off his mortgage in record time. And then I'm going to tell you how you can do it too, how our system, our P.I.L.L method system. Watch this.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you going to keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm going to keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't got to do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
All right, everybody. Did you hear that? So how is it that you want to get your savings and earnings report? You see, you can know the month, day, and year you could be debt free. All right. You can, Tamara said, Tamara, look what she said. That's crazy. Thank you for this information. Listen, Tamara, we're just scratching the surface here. So if you want to get a savings and earnings report, go to ice10k.com. Okay. I'm putting it on the screen. ice10k.com. ice10k.com. All right. There it is. And that is my digital business card. You get to see, you can actually save this to your phone. All right. You can save it to your phone. ice10k.com. But do this on your computer. It's a little easier. Then click on, go down under Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher, go down under his picture and click on this button that says Get your savings and earnings report. And it's free. Don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Get your free savings report now. It's free. If you have a mortgage, you got student loans, you got credit cards, you got car loans, plug it all into our system and we'll tell you the month, day, and year you'll be debt free. And it's usually within 7 to 9 years. Now, some people it takes a little bit more. Some people it's a little bit less. It all depends on your financial situation. Okay. So let me see here. I want to check and see. I've got everything going good here. All right. So if you want more information like this, get into the P.I.L.L method. Stop losing money. And do you know how many people have just this last week said, I've been watching you for years. I've been watching you for months. For months, I've been watching you for months. I've been watching you for years. But they finally got around to getting a free savings report. Do you know how much money can be lost by waiting when you could get this for free? Get your savings and earnings report for free. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, click on get a savings report, fill out part 1, then you click yes, I want to save, and you put in your financial information into part 2. Okay? So let's get back to this huge 18% mortgage. Tamara, you think that's crazy? I need you to take a look at cumulative principal, all right, for 1 year on this thing. Okay, let's take a look at it. All right, let me see here. All right, let's take a look at this. Samby, can you break down Tamara's payment? I will do that. I will do that next. All right, so here's what we've got. $64.67. That's all of the principal up front. That's all the principal payments for 1 year. If somebody on this loan came up with $64.67, they would knock out 1 year on this loan, gone, and save themselves $11,545.73 in interest they never have to pay. Just $64.67. Man, oh man, my autism loves a higher interest rate because that's what I see. Tamara, are you ready? Are you ready to put your information in? Okay, let's do this. Okay, Tamara, we're going to do your information next. So we're going to bring up another amortization schedule from Brett Whistle. Now, if you want to do this on your own, this is not my program. This is something that I use online as a teaching tool. His name is Brett Whistle, BRETWHI, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, EL. BrettWhistle.net, BRETWHISSEL.net. Somebody put that in the chat for me. Somebody put that in the comment section online for me. BrettWhistle.net. All right, there you go. So, Tamara, here's what we're going to do. This is how I'm going to figure out how much your loan was at the very beginning. Okay, so I just need the principal and interest is $189.50. All right, principal and interest. So we're going to add it up. Okay. All right, so we'll add that up. We have principal $189.51. If I get any of this wrong, Tamara, you got to tell me. $189.51 for principal, and interest is $689.41. So we're going to add that. $689.41. Okay, $689.41 equals $878.92. Now, with your mortgage payment, the amount of principal and interest never changes. Okay, the principal and interest payment, just the configuration. Okay. Every month, a little more goes to principal, a little less goes to interest, but the 878.92 doesn't change. So let's go ahead and put that in 878.92. So we're going to put that in our payment, 878.92. All right. 360. I'm assuming it's a 30-year loan. All right. The interest rate is 5.125. So it's 5 and an eighth. Okay. 5.125. Okay. And I'm going to take out the principal amount. Okay. Where the loan started. And when we calculate that, you always put a check mark in here so you can show the whole amortization schedule. So here's where your loan started at 161,421. Okay, that's where your loan started. And right now, here's what you owe. You owe, oh, it's brand new. It's brand new. You see how they rounded it up to 161,422? This is what it actually is. So I'm gonna use this number. So it's a brand new loan. I see that now. Okay. Most people don't give me a brand new loan, Tamara. So here's what we've got. Let me take out these advertisements. We don't need to see that. Okay. So let me show you what they want from you. All right. Your total payment of, let me put this over here, 878.92. Your first principal payment is 198.51. Excuse me, 689.41 in interest. Boom, there it is. And if you prepay, you start prepaying, you can save a ton of interest. Let me show you how much interest they want you to lose in the first 5 years. Tamara, I'm glad you brought this because now you don't have to. Okay. In the first year, they want you to lose over $8,000 just to pay your loan down by $2,300. In the first 5 years, here's what it looks like. This is 60 payments. Congratulations, you paid your mortgage down by $12,929.33, but they want you to pay $39,805 in interest. That's what they want you to pay. Tamara, is that how you want to spend your money? Okay. I'm asking. You can put yes or no in there. I had all these people here in Clubhouse. If you're in Clubhouse, raise your hand, come to the stage. You don't have to say anything, but if you're on the stage, more people will come in. All right. More people need to hear how autism can save them money. All right. So there you go. Thank you, Holly. I appreciate you. Okay. All right. So by Holly coming to the stage, more people can see Holly, and then they will come in. All right. Holly, do you have a question or a comment?
Oh, gosh, I feel like God just put me in this room, actually. I just sent you a question on Instagram because it's a little involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't want to bore anyone with it.
Okay.
Kind of like,
do you want to handle this on the air, or do you want to handle this after the fact, after the show?
well, if you want to use me as a guinea pig and go through it, yeah, I'm happy to.
All right. Well, listen, stay on the stage. I'll go to our Instagram and I'll take a look and look it up. Okay, Holly?
Great.
All right. So Tamara, what do you want to know about your loan that we have on here right now? And anybody else that wants to come to the stage, please do come right now if you're here in Clubhouse. All right. Raise your hand. Come on up. All right. So Tamara, I wanted to show you how this thing breaks down and how you don't have to pay all of this interest. It shouldn't cost you $8,000. Okay, it shouldn't cost $8,000 to pay your loan down by $2,300. It shouldn't cost that. That's way too much money. We don't have to do that anymore. Okay, so if you want, let me show you what's next. Okay, we need to optimize our interest savings. Okay. She says, that's not how I want to spend my money. All right, let's put that on the screen there. She says, that's not how I want to spend my money. So Tamara, I really do encourage you, since this is a brand new mortgage, go to ice10k.com. Do it on your computer. It's easier to fill out than if you try to do it on your phone. Click on Get a Savings and Earnings Report and put all your information in there so that we can keep you from losing all of this money. Here's what they want from you. Here's what they want from you. Okay? At this interest rate, here's what they want. Okay? They want you to pay $154,989.52 in total. That's what they want you to pay, which means your house that's worth $161,000, they want you to pay $316,000 for it in a $161 neighborhood, $161,000 neighborhood. So Tamara, do you think that's fair? That to buy your house for $161,000, they want you to pay $316,000 for it? That's buying one house for the bank and one house for you. Is this why you signed up for a mortgage, to buy one house for the bank and one house for you? I know what she's going to say. She's going to say no. So how do we cut interest cost here? We need to learn how to read an amortization schedule for what it really is. All right. If you are going to be anywhere in the Orlando area in 2 weeks, I will be there. Go to Pop Clive. POP is crawling across the screen right now. POPCLIVE.com and get your tickets before we run out. Okay. Listen, I don't know why this happens. People wait till the last minute and tickets are being snapped up right now. Okay. Daily, they're being snapped up. We only have about 300 tickets. Now, the room that we're going to be in, it's going to cost us more to expand it. Okay. So if we sell out and I get a lot of people who want more tickets and we get those tickets sold, then we'll expand the room. All right. But go ahead, get your ticket now. Just make sure you're one of the first 300. That way I can guarantee that you'll get in. Okay. Because unless we have a huge sale, a huge amount of tickets sold, we're not going to expand the room. So get your tickets now. And I guarantee you that when we come back to the Orlando area, I will not be able to sell tickets at that price. This is a one-time only deal. One time only. So how do you get that? Okay. Now, there we go. So folks, let's understand where we are on this loan. This is what Tamara is looking at. She wants to, let's see how we can get her out of debt in 7 to 9 years. Let me give you a little bit of what's going on with our program. Our program will take a look at all of your finances, how much you're making and how much you're spending. It will then focus on how much is left over after all the bills are paid, and then say, listen, take that money and put it into your savings account. When your savings account gets to a certain point, the program will say, let's take the least amount of money out of the savings. What? Yes. Let's take the least amount out of the savings we can here and apply it to the debt so that you can maximize interest savings. The least amount of money kills the most money in interest per dollar. Do you want your dollar to be maximized? Do you want your dollar, every dollar you put towards your mortgage, to eliminate more interest? Then you have to optimize your payment. Find out what's the least amount to pay to get the biggest bang for your buck. Let me give you an example of that today. This is why I love higher interest rates as opposed to lower ones. Watch this. Watch this. If I have this loan and I can look at line 12 and line 24. If I only give you two choices to prepay, you can prepay the $2,300 and knock off a year. Or if you have plenty of money in the bank, how about $4,778.91 down here on line 24, cumulative principal? What if you could prepay that? Prepay that instead and knock off 2 years. Most people would do this. They would knock off 2 years. Let me show you what's happening here. So if I prepay the $2,000, okay? And I'm going to use this number instead. All right, so we're going to do $8,218.68 and divide it by the 2328. So we're going to divide by $2,328.36. Okay, this is what we get. Uh-oh, I did something wrong. Get. Okay, 8,218.68, okay, divided by 2328, okay, 0.36 equals, there it is, okay, $3.53, 353. So at this point, I can save $3.53 for every dollar I put on this mortgage. So if you, Tamara, if you were just to prepay $1 on this mortgage at this point, it would save you $3.53. 53 cents. Okay. So if you gave me $1 and I gave you back $3.53, how many times would you do that, everybody? Okay. Do you realize the bank has to do the same thing? They do. They've got to. $3.53 for every dollar. So that's at this point. But if I give them the $4,778 and I get to kill $16,000 in interest, let's do that math. Okay. So we put in 16,315.17. And this is what my autism sees. Okay. Delete that 17. All right. So now we're going to divide that by 4,778.91 equals $3.41. What? Yeah, $3.41. So let me ask you, if your dollar can save you $3.52, should you ever accept your dollar just saving you $3.41? You tell me. And this is what my autism sees. And this is why we developed a whole program that does all of the math. It's called our opportunity cost calculator that puts everything in here. It's like autism in your computer. Okay, so how to get the biggest bang out of your buck? Let's take my autism, put it in your computer, and the program will tell you how much money to pay, what month to pay it in, what debt to pay it on, to optimize your interest savings. The more interest you save, the more money we save you, the more money we keep you from losing. You will get out of debt faster. You see, it's faster than the debt snowball. And this is why Dave Ramsey needs to actually stop teaching the debt snowball. He needs to stop teaching it because it costs people. If you put the pill method up against the debt snowball, yeah, you're going to pay $50,000 to $70,000 more in interest than you need to pay. Why? Why is that? Because you're paying off the debt with a smaller interest costs first, while you're leaving the ones that have the huge interest costs to last. So you pay off the smaller ones and feel good. You should not pay anything according to how big it is. you should be paying stuff off according to how much money you can save in interest. So we're going to optimize your interest savings. That's why the P.I.L.L method is superior to the avalanche method and the debt snowball method. Okay, Tamara, I hope that this helps you being able to see your information online. I don't know exactly what did you wanted to see, but I hope this is helpful. Okay, if it is, tell me if there's something else you wanted to know. Please tell me, and then I can answer that question. But Holly, let me pull up my Instagram and see what you're talking about here, and let's talk about it. All right, Instagram. Pulling up my phone, Holly. And let's see what she has to say. All right, Instagram. There we go. And let's see here. We have 3 requests. Okay, Holly, I see you. Says, wow. Okay, I got it. Oh, yeah. You wrote quite a bit. All right. My credit score. Okay, I see. We have credit card debt. Okay. All right. Holly, come on. Talk to me a little bit.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can. All right. Holly, can you pay all of your bills in 1 month with your income?
You know,
Okay, you're breaking up. Try it again.
okay, let me lower my audio.
Okay. So what I'm looking for is if you just make the minimum payments. Okay. If you just make the minimum payments, can you do that? Can you make all the minimum payments? Oh, now I can't hear you at all. Oh man, I'm sorry, Holly. I wish I could.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. I'm with you now.
All right. Can you make all the minimum payments on your credit card debt?
I'm doing it.
Okay, great.
Scraping by.
Okay, that's it. That's all we need. Did you realize that you can get out of debt faster with just minimum payments?
No, I did not.
Can I give you an example of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're just going to pick one of your credit cards, okay? I'm just picking one, all right? And I'm going to make up some numbers so you don't have to give us a whole lot of personal information. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. So, let's say you have a credit card that has a $10,000 balance. You owe about $10,000 on that card, okay?
Okay, I'm with you.
And the interest rate, let's call it 17%, okay? Interest rate is 17%. All right. Now, most people would look at that and say, oh my gosh, that's crazy. 17%. That's nuts. But right now, you pay your bills. Do you use electronic banking to pay your bills at all?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you realize that by paying your bills online like that, that the same companies that take your electronic check, a lot of them will take your credit card for payment as well?
Using a credit card to pay off another credit card?
Nope. I'm talking about paying, like buying groceries, buying, paying for subscriptions, streaming your insurance,
Yes.
things like that. Okay. They will take your credit card. Okay. Now,
Right.
I'm just saying that I owe $10,000 on this card, but I make about $5,000 a month. I could take my $5,000 and put it in my checking account and pay my bills, couldn't I?
Right.
But what if I took my $5,000 and put it on my credit card instead?
Okay.
How much do I owe the credit card company as of right now? If Right.
5,000.
5,000. So am I paying interest on 5,000 or 10,000?
5,000.
Okay, but I really owe 10 because I still have to pay bills, don't I? Okay.
Okay.
You following me? All right.
Because you still have to pay bills?
I still have to pay bills. Okay.
Right. Okay.
All right. So as I pay bills, my balance is slowly going to creep up towards 10,000 again. Isn't that right?
Right.
But if my balance is at 10,000 all month long, that means I have to pay a higher interest bill.
Right.
Okay. So now I'm just going to put this on the screen so we can have good numbers, so I don't have to imagine everything. So I'm putting this on the screen. All right. And all right. So we have Brett Whistle. All right. And when you're using Brett Whistle and you're putting credit card information in, always change the regular payments to 240 months, because most of, if not all, credit cards are amortized over 240 months, not 360 months. Okay. So we have a $10,000 credit card at 17%. All right. You know what? I'm going to blow that thing up. I'm going to blow it to 27%. How's that? Oh, even
Sure.
worse. Even worse. Okay.
Probably closer to the reality.
Okay. So we're going to do 27%. And this is what I need you to see. The interest payment on that, okay? The interest payment on that is $225. I want everybody to understand this right now. If your credit card company is going to charge you $225 if you don't pay that off, what if you had $10,000 in the bank and you could pay it off instantly? Okay. I pay that off instantly. How much interest have I saved that month? $225, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
When you look at it that way, does it really help you very much to pay it off fast? Okay. So here's what I need you to see. Do you have any other, do you have a mortgage right now?
Only on the investment properties, not on our personal.
Okay. But you have it on the investment property. Okay.
Correct.
And do you look at the investment property differently than you would a personal property?
I don't know. I guess not.
Okay. So do you know how much interest you're paying every month on the investment property?
About 4%.
About 4%. Okay. So let's do this. I'm gonna show you something here. I'm gonna duplicate this tab, and we have about 4%. These doggone things. We have 4% on the mortgage. Okay. 4%. All right. And do you remember the beginning balance about? It doesn't have to be exact.
One of them, let's say, was about 100,000.
That's 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to do 100,000 at 4% for 360 months. That's 30 years, right?
Right.
30 years. All right, let me show you something that's interesting. There we go. All right, so here we go. Your interest cost on this $100,000 loan for the very first month is $333. Okay, so if a financial expert saw your situation, they would say, "Oh my gosh, Holly, you have a $10,000 balance on your credit card and it's 27%. And that 27% is way more than the 4% on your mortgage."
Mm-hmm.
They would tell you, which one should we concentrate on first, the mortgage or the credit card?
Well, I guess, like you said, it depends on which school of thought they're coming from. If they come from the Dave Ramsey school of thought, they Well, they'd still pick the credit card because it's a lower balance, right? But
Right.
either way, I suppose that they'd pick
Yeah.
the credit card.
They want that credit card, okay? Because they're looking at 27% and they are equating it with the 4% on the mortgage, which is the exact wrong thing to do. Okay. So if I pay off the credit card, how much interest do I save? $225. I could put $10,000 on this mortgage. Let me show you here. Shoot. I've knocked off over 5 years off this mortgage. That's 63 payments.
Wow.
And saving over $19,000 in interest. But Dave Ramsey would say it's the credit card that's killing you.
But in this
Go ahead.
in this scenario, sorry, Don. In this scenario, though, comparing the mortgage to the credit card, though, I guess one argument might be, well, sure, I could put 10 grand into the mortgage, and that looks all good on paper, but the credit cards are what I need to sustain my ongoing monthly bills. I can't use the mortgage to pay my bills.
That is so true. But I needed to show you this part first.
Okay.
How we can manipulate the credit cards, but we need to focus on interest cost that we're managing and not interest rate. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good enough. Good enough. So now let me go back to the credit card. So we're going to put $5,000, your income, on this credit card. All right. Now on credit cards, you pay interest on the average daily balance. If your average daily balance is 10,000, then you're going to pay more interest. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if I keep my average daily balance down and I know what my minimum payment is on that card, okay, let's say my minimum payment is $300. All right, my minimum payment is $300, and I make that, but the first $225 goes to interest, right? Okay, but if I can afford the minimum payment on the card, and I put $5,000 on this, now they have to start calculating my interest cost from $5,000 as it starts to go up. So let's say I can cut that in half. So 225, okay? We have 225 divided by 2. Now I'm just kind of rounding things up here, okay? Rounding things off. So now my interest cost is like $112. You see where I'm going here?
Right.
But if I can pay $300, if I can pay the same $300 because this is in my budget, this $300 in my budget, if I make the same minimum payment, will more of my money go to principal now?
Yes.
Because I'm making my income cancel interest for me, and I'm using my income and then I put it on the credit card to save me interest, and I still get to pay my bills on time. What if you kept doing that? Would you pay off the credit card faster with just the minimum payment?
Yes.
Okay, so let's put it this way. Now, I'm going to do another thing for you. What if my bills, I can put down $5,000 income on here, but my bills add up to $4,000 a month. So every month I'm putting on 5, but my bills add up to 4. That's an extra $1,000 that stays on the credit card, doesn't it?
Right.
How fast can I pay off that thing now?
Warp speed, I guess.
Exactly. So I'm just giving you something for free that you can probably do that's going to be easy to kill that credit card debt. Now, if you want to put all of that into our system, our program will tell you exactly what to pay and when. I can tell you the month, day, and year you can be debt free, not just on the credit card debt, but on everything. But that just gives you just some hope that interest cancellation can work for you as well.
Cool.
Do you have any other questions for me? Because now I'm gonna take a look at the rest of what you had here, but that just stood out to me. Okay, you have very small loans, okay, on duplexes. All right, blah 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 blah. We got that working. Would you keep hustling and trying to pay down the credit card debt through income, or would you try to access the equity on one of the properties to pay off the debt, credit card debt? Now, that's one of the things that my autism sees. Let's work on that right now. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Remember, one of the things I talked about at the top of the show is that people get fooled into paying 200 and 300% interest on loans, and they don't even realize it. Okay. Now, what is some of the, if you have a property that has equity in it, which one of your properties do you believe you have the most in, and how much is it? How much equity do you believe you have?
It's in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I believe we've got, let's just say, probably minimum $200,000 equity.
$200,000 equity on that. Okay. So let's put our calculator up. Okay. $200,000 equity. 200,000. Okay. Times 80%. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Equals. So you'll be able to approximately bring out $160,000 on this. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I got 160,000. And how much other debt do you want to pay off? How much debt do you want to pay off?
Well, easy math. Let's just call it 100,000.
Call it 100,000. So now, do you want to take out 100,000 of your equity, or do you want to take 160,000 out? You just tell me, and I'll do the math, and I'll do everything else.
Let's just pull 100.
We're just going to pull 100 out. Okay. So now, the balance on that mortgage is right about what? Yeah.
That would make the balance about 100,000 if you add that in.
Okay. So now, so that property is completely paid off.
It's got about a $50,000, I believe. Left.
Okay. So that would mean now you owe 150,000 if we take $100,000 out, correct?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and put in 150,000. All right. But refinancing ain't free.
Right.
Okay. Let's give you a $10,000 closing cost on that.
Woo. Okay.
Okay. $10,000, 160. Now, if there are any mortgage professionals in the room, you tell me if that $10,000 is out of line. I'll put in a different number. All right. Let me know if that's out of line, but I don't believe it is. Okay. So we have 160,000 and interest rates. Let's just say you are fortunate and you could get a 6.5 interest rate. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's going to be 30 years. Okay. 30 years. Uh-oh. Come on now. 360. There it is. And we're going to calculate. That means my principal and interest payment is $1,011.31. Okay. That's just the principal and interest payment. That's what you got. All right, William, I see you in here, William. You can't sit. Listen, if you come into my room, you cannot sit in the audience. You got to come to the stage, even if you don't say anything. So please raise your hand. Let's get William up on the stage. I haven't seen him in a while. Okay, so now here's what I need you to take a look at. How much was the closing cost on this? 10,000?
10,000.
All right, let me show you what the first $10,000 costs to pay off, because we have to get back to our original 150,000, right?
Right.
So to pay off the first 10,000, that's just the closing cost. And if you're seeing this, it takes 59 months, almost 60 months to pay off the first 10,000.
Wow.
Okay. How much interest?
10,000.
Uh-uh. That's
Oh,
the principle.
50. Wait.
Yes.
Oh my.
So let me ask you something. May I lend you $10,000 for 5 years and you pay me $50,000 for it?
No.
This is what happens. Now, here's what happens when people roll in high interest loans into their what people think is a low interest mortgage. Okay, so you put $100,000 into this. So to get down back to your $50,000 that you had before you refinance to pay off this debt. Now let's say we paid it off, and now you could save yourself maybe $2,500 in payments every month. Okay, you can increase your cash flow. I reduce my payments by by $2,500 because I paid off all of these loans and I don't have those minimum payments anymore. Okay, but if you have a credit card at 27% and you roll it into this mortgage at 6.5, that's how we're taught to think about it. Okay, I got 30% interest, I got 25% interest, I got 27% interest. Now it's at 6.5, and this is how it's sold to you. But you want to get back to your original $50,000. This is how much it costs to get back there. $50,000. I'm scrolling forever here. All right, back down to 50,000. It's going to take 302 months. Okay, to pay off my $110,000 cost me almost $200,000 in interest. Okay, so if you borrow $5, Holly, from me, and I say pay me back the $5 and an additional $5 interest, is that 100% interest?
Yes.
If I borrow $100,000 from the bank and I pay them $100,000 in interest on that 100,000, is that 100% interest?
Yes.
Does it matter to you if I call it 6.5?
Well, it sounds a lot sexier when you say 6.5. I prefer the sound of that.
Okay. So if I borrow 100,000, but I pay back nearly $200,000 in interest, isn't that a 200% loan?
Yeah.
People with perfect credit are often fooled into paying 200 to 500% interest on loans, and they don't even realize it. And this is the reason.
Wow.
Okay, even on the first $10,000, let's scroll back up to that. That's just the closing costs. Okay, the closing costs. So $10,000. Okay, on the first closing, that's $50,000 in interest. That's a 500% loan in just 5 years. 500%. Would you ever pay 500% interest on a loan?
No.
But when you roll it into a mortgage like this, it does. Now, let's just say you are a client of the P.I.L.L. method and you're choosing to say, okay, Don, I just paid, I refinanced this thing and here's where I am. Okay. But I have $10,000 right now. Okay. I've got this money. Let's see what we can do with it. Would it make sense to roll in the $10,000 fee closing cost into your loan and then pay it off with the first payment? Put an additional $10,000 on principal.
Maybe, but then aren't you still left with? I mean, you're still left with the conundrum of the long term.
Well, I'm just,
interest.
you're true that you're right, but I'm gonna handle that too.
Okay.
Okay. Would it make sense to pay that off?
Yes.
Okay. Because by doing that, I just knocked 10,000 off off the entire loan here, which is going to help me with the extra $100,000 I took out. Okay. All right. So now here's where I am. Now I just paid off the 10,000 so that the bank can't charge me $49,000 in interest. Guess what they get to charge me? $866 instead.
Oh. Okay.
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 Because I have to pay some interest, but if I give that to them on line 1, I'm paid all the way down to line 59 in just 1 month.
Okay. Got it.
Boom. I don't have to give them all this money. Big difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now look at my principal and interest payments. $197.87, $198.94, but look at my interest payments here. So now we're going to start working on killing this interest. So let's just say you are fortunate enough now, because you have rental properties, you can set aside some monies for repairs and maintenance.
Right.
Okay, so I've got some cash sitting there. And let's just say you have a certain percentage. Instead of just doing what you feel like, you have a certain percentage, a system whereby you're systematized putting money into that account so that you can always have money for repairs and maintenance.
Right.
And I have I'm going to use $10,000. Okay? I'm going to use $10,000. So if I have $10,000 in there and I'm consistently putting money back, okay? If I take $1,000 out of my savings account, okay? That's 5 payments of these. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 5 of these, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I get to save 5 times $800 in interest. So $1,000, okay, saves me over $4,000 in interest by using my $1,000 that I have sitting in my bank account. Now,
Wow.
what if I say, okay, now I got a certain amount going into that account. I'm just going to make minimum payments until the certain amount of money that I'm putting back into that account pays me back. I get it back up to where it was, and now I can do it again. Boom. Put a big chunk of money that's sitting in an account that's probably making 1/10 of 1%. And now I'm getting a 400% return on my money instead of 1/10 of 1%. I'm making the money that's dormant, that's sitting in the bank account, waiting for something to go wrong, and I'm leveraging it, not taking it all out, but a certain percentage so it's easy to pay back. So I'm not hurting myself just in case there's an emergency. Does this make sense to you?
Yes, but is it safe to say that you would err on the side of hustle, get your income, and use your cash to use your P.I.L.l. method and then figure out what credit cards to attack first and so forth, rather than leveraging equity? Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Okay.
That's really safe to say. Okay.
So you're saying I have to work hard, Don?
No, what I'm saying is that if you take money out for your equity, you should be buying more properties with it so you can increase your income. Not paying off debt, and use our program to help you to save money on interest, which means more of the money that you already make pays down the loan because of all the interest you're saving.
Can I ask you one more question?
You can ask me as many questions as you want. You know why? Because nobody else is asking questions.
Well, one more question just on the philosophy here.
Yes.
You acknowledged that the Dave Ramsey snowball, I think it is, the one where it's pay down the smallest loan first to get yourself feeling confident. It's like an emotional sort of feeling, right? It gives you energy to keep going. So you acknowledge that there is an emotional component to that, but why do you still, like, do you kind of discount that, or like how much weight do you give the emotional aspect of it?
Okay. If you are a behavioral economist, then when you start reading books by, like, Daniel Kahneman and some other Nobel laureates who have gotten these awards for their work in economics, you'll find out that most human beings make irrational decisions when it comes to money. Okay. We believe we know more than we actually do.
Sure.
So most of the time we're making emotional decisions when it comes to money. What we want to do is, if we're not going to be able to remove that component, but I want to tie it to something that is actually going to be beneficial. Okay. So if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to be emotional, let me be emotional in a way that's going to save me some money.
Right.
So let me bring up something for you. Okay. And I'm going to increase your emotions here in a way that you never thought possible.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let me see here. I'm actually going to bring up my program and pull it over and then give you some idea of what's happening. All right. It's loading now. And as soon as it loads, we will pull it over. Here it is. And there we go, onto the screen. Okay. Now, all right. So let us do this. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to do two examples here. One is simple and the other one is going to be more complicated. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. So years to pay off. This is John and Rebecca Jones. All right. So they have $500 in checking, a little over $5,000 in savings. They have a $25,000 auto loan at 4%. They have a credit card at on $2,000 at 21%. They owe $200,000 on a mortgage at 6%. That's a total of $227,000. Okay, but the amount of interest they're going to save, because they're giving that money away, they're losing money hand over fist. We're going to save them $179,649 in interest they never have to pay. And because
I love this, Don. This is beautiful. I really like this platform.
Okay. So because of that, they're going to be out of debt in 7.7 years.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's take a look at what is actually happening. And this is why we don't like the debt snowball, is because if we follow the debt snowball, then when we take a look at our debt, we're going to pay off the credit card first. That gets paid off. And our minimum payment of $51 would go towards our extra money and paying off the auto loan next, right? Because it's $25,000. All right. Okay. So let's agree that if I have some money, it's going to be easy to pay off the credit card and save this. And this $51 payment we're going to use on the auto loan, and all my other extra money that I was using to pay off the card fast. Let's say I can pay off this auto loan in 2 years. I ask a question in my book. How much does it cost for your good feelings? Because we have no idea how much interest we're paying to pay off these low interest things. So let's take a look at what's going on. So I'm going to tell my program, okay, that we're going to pay off the credit card. We're going to take money from savings and pay off this credit card, including the interest. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pay that off. Credit card to zero. Okay. Credit card is now paid off. Let's go to the accounts. Let's take a look. Okay. Credit card is paid off. This minus 19, that's the interest. That's the residual interest that they're going to send me that final bill on and pay that to. Okay. Then it will zero out. Okay. So now the next loan I should tackle, according to Dave, is the car loan, right?
Okay.
Okay. So, but let's go into, I'm going to go to preferences. All right, go to preferences. And I'm going to go to program focus settings. And my program is set to what? Automatic.
Okay.
And it's going to choose, it says, when the focus is set to automatic, the program will automatically optimize the order to pay off the debts to become debt free. You may change the focus setting, however, this could have a negative impact on your overall results. It could. Doesn't necessarily mean it will, but it could.
Wow.
So we're going to tell the program, I don't want automatic. I want debt snowball. So I want to focus on the auto loan next until it's paid off. Okay. I need you to look at the 7.7 years. You see that?
Yep.
And I need you to look at the $179,000 in interest the program wants to save me if I follow the program.
Okay.
I'm going to change it to auto loan and see what it does. It went to, do you see the difference?
I'm lagged behind you. Okay. So 7.8.
Yep. And
178.
So before it was 100 and I'm saving out like 179,000.
Right. And it was 7.7, I believe.
7.7. So it's actually going to take me longer to get out of debt. And it's going to cost me over $1,000 in interest to pay off the car in 2 years instead of 5.
Got it.
Okay. Let's see why. I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put it back to automatic. Okay. We're back to 7.7. We're back to 179,000. Okay. Let's see why. When we go into the accounts and I look at the auto loan, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. There it is. How much is the interest payment on the auto loan?
Percent.
Okay. So, but what's the interest payment over? Look over to the left.
Oh, sorry. 83.
$83. So, and my principal payment is how much?
377.
So I have to prepay $377 to get rid of an $83 payment, don't I?
Right.
Okay. But I mean, $83 in interest, that's still nothing to sneeze at.
Right.
I can save a ton of interest and I can pay this car off early. But for the next 2 years, I can pay it off instead of 5, which saves me 3 years on a car loan. I'm feeling pretty doggone good about that. My car's paid off. But that means I paid the minimum payment on my mortgage because I'm so focused on the car loan. Is that correct?
Right.
Let's take a look at the mortgage here. So we're going to go back to accounts and go to the mortgage, click on history. And what is, when it catches up, look over to the left and say, how much interest am I paying?
1,000.
And what do I have to prepay to get rid of $1,000 interest?
200.
Do you see why I don't like the debt snowball?
Yes. Yes. So,
Go
Don,
ahead.
is yours sort of a combination between there's the avalanche, which I think that one is attack the highest interest first, if I'm not mistaken. So would yours be sort of like a combination of that mixed with high balance So it's sort of letting the math do the calculator do the math for you to figure out the combination that makes the most sense to attack first.
That is a very good question. But a more concise answer would be, instead of looking at the interest rate, look at the interest cost and then do the math.
Okay.
We're so focused on rate, we never do interest cost.
Right.
So I helped one of my clients do this because when they got into the program, they're used to paying off their credit cards every single month. Okay. Even I've heard famous people say, I don't pay credit card interest. Okay. I pay off my credit cards every single month. Okay. There's a billionaire real estate investor who says the same thing. Okay. Y'all may know who I'm talking about.
Right.
He's Jonathan's friend. Okay, so it says I pay your credit cards off every month. So these folks were saying I owe $1,200 on my credit card, but your program is telling me to ignore it and just pay the minimum payment and then do something else. But I never pay credit card interest, and it was at 12%, and it was distressing them. It was the highest interest rate of everything they had was at 12% on this credit card. And I said, well, did you realize that 12% annual interest really means 1% a month? Oh, it's 1% this month, not 12% this month, 1% this month. So if you pay off the credit card, congratulations, you just saved yourself $12. Okay. Or you could put that on one of these mortgages. Now, in your case, we could put this on a $100,000 loan at 4%. We put $1,200 on. Shoot, that could knock off 8 months and save over $2,600. So let me ask you, would it be okay to pay Visa $12 so you could use their money to save $2,600 on your mortgage and knock off 8 payments?
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I have to help them to see.
Okay, follow-up question, Don. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, what about where in these calculations does it consider two things? One, your credit score. So going over certain balance equals declining credit score sort of thing.
Okay.
And B, your ongoing monthly bills for various this, that, and the other that may come out of those credit cards. Therefore, you need to have a certain minimum payment just to cover, X, Y, and Z marketing, Netflix, yada, yada.
Okay. Two things. All right. First, why do you need a high credit score first? Tell me why you would need to have that.
Well, for lending.
Okay. To be approved for a loan or to get lower interest rates?
To get, well, both.
Okay. If it's to be approved for a loan, you want to make sure that your credit profile is correct, not just the credit score. And
Right.
I don't need lower interest rates. If you give me a choice between a lower one and a higher one, I'll take the higher one all day. So
Okay.
I don't need a lower credit score. Now, by using this program, you're paying off debt better than agreed. You're still going to get your higher credit score anyway. But use your credit score, make sure your credit is in shape so that you can get it approved for credit anytime you want.
Right.
But the idea of being that the way to manage your costs on credit is to get the lowest interest rate, that's a fallacy.
Okay.
If you want to make every single payment on your loan, yes, get the lowest credit score available. Because I'm going to be making every single payment on this credit card until it's paid off and I'm making minimum payments. But If I want to put myself in a better position, yeah, I'm going to take the higher interest rate because now my principal payments are going to do more work for me.
Okay.
Okay. So that's kind of where we are. And on your credit cards, you want to keep between 1% and 7% of your balance always open on the card. Do you realize by paying that off, paying your credit cards off, you could drop your points by about 20 points by having zero balance?
Hmm.
So you have to do a lot of study on how credit actually works and how this credit card system actually works. Okay.
Okay.
You can make some serious mistakes by following the financial gurus who never take into account interest cost on a loan. They're only looking at interest rate.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So now if we take a look at back over here on something that's more, remember I said I was going to give you something that was emotional?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to reset this account, and you wanted to tie emotion to optimized interest savings, not just any old thing, because what we're taught to believe, all right, I'm talking in, I did the wrong thing, reset account, and I want multiple properties. There we go. Multiple properties. There we go. Now this puts in 11 mortgages. Okay. I got 11 mortgages. Which one do we focus on and how much do we pay and when? Okay. To get that emotional high. Okay. So instead of focusing on when I can pay the debt off, let's focus on how much interest I can save.
Okay.
You like that?
I like that.
Okay, so because now in this scenario, I'm starting out in November. I want you to take a look at all my my mortgages here when it catches up. So this one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mortgages and a HELOC, which is a second mortgage on one of the houses. So that's 11 mortgages. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So out of all of these mortgages, here's what the program is doing. Now, every time you get to do something here, I got my income here, my rental income of $15,000. When I receive my rental income for $15,000, I tell the program that I received it by executing that. So then it disappears from the screen and it adds it to my virtual bank account. So my virtual bank account matches my real bank account at the bank. $15,000 over here, $15,000 over there. Make sense?
Right.
Okay. So now I'm going to pay bills. And every time I pay a bill, I got to tell the program. When I see these arrows, the program is telling me how much money to put in savings, later use to kill debt. Okay. So now the program says to put $596.45, not a penny more, not a penny less, because all of these are optimized amounts. Do this to get your biggest bang for your buck, and then pay minimum payments on your mortgages only. Okay. Now this person also gets a paycheck, so we're going to put that in. They get bonuses. We're going to put that in, and we're paying all of our bills. Okay. But in the month of December, we get another $15,000 in income, and the program says now I have way more money in my checking account than I need. So it says put $9,675.33 into the savings. And now we're going to pay off the Visa. We're going to pay off the HELOC. And we're going to put an extra, after the mortgage is paid on mortgage number 9, it says put $1,936.96 on mortgage number 9. Not a penny more. No. Even though you have more money in the bank, because there's a point at which more is too much. Remember, we're trying to save the most interest per dollar. You put more money on than you're supposed to, then the amount of interest you can save per dollar starts to go down.
Got it.
This is what my autism sees. And now I have to try to explain this to everybody else. Okay. All right. So now this is put on mortgage, and I'm just going to execute mortgage number 9. Okay. Just one out of these. So we're going to execute paying that. And I need you to watch this right now. Our actual interest saved is at 0. So I'm going to execute paying extra $1,900 on the principal of this mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And look how much interest it's going to save me. I need you to see this. Wait till it catches up. And I just highlighted it. You tell me, how much interest do I save?
23,000. Wow.
In other words, if I were to pay the mortgage like the bank wanted me to, by the time I paid it down by $1,900, I would have given the bank $23,000 in interest to do it. But if I give it to them when they're not expecting it, I don't have to pay them the $23,000 for the same equity. And it goes up here in the actual amount. So why did the program pick mortgage number 9? Do you want to see?
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to go in, take a look at the accounts, go down to mortgage number 9. It's 10. It's all the way down here. Okay. Mortgage number 9. We owe $485,000. Let me know when it catches up. So
Yep.
$485,000 at 6.5. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
All right. Now we have a HELOC at 8.6. We got this one. We got this at 8.5, 4.5. Got 5% here. We got 3% here. 4%, 5, 4, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. But we have this one at 6.5, which is not that much more. Okay. But when we take a look at it, my principal payment is, let me make it a little larger. My principal payment is how much on this loan right here?
233.
How much is my interest payment?
Or 223. 2,627.
So basically, for every $223, I get to kill over $2,600 in interest.
Wow.
If more people knew this, especially if they were real estate investors, they would stop listening to people who say, stop trying to pay off the mortgage. Your tenants are paying off the mortgage. Your tenants are not paying off the mortgage. Your tenants are paying you. And you are paying your mortgage. Okay. So if your tenants are giving you $5,000 in a year, and all you get to keep out of that is $1,700, that's not a deal. It's not a deal at all.
Right.
Okay. If you gave me $5,000 to invest for you, and at the end of 1 year, I return to you only $1,700, not even the $5,000 principal. I'm only going to give you $1,700 back. Do you want to invest with me?
No.
But if you put $5,000 into this thing that your tenants gave you, even though you're cash flowing on every single property, you're still losing money that you could be putting into more properties later.
Right.
So don't just cash flow on the front end. Borrow your money cheaper so that you could buy more properties now and cash out refi. Listen to this, 10 to 15 years sooner. You see, if you are a real estate investor and you're young enough, you're not trying to pay off this property. You're just trying to get the cash to refinance out of that, to pull money out to buy more properties sooner.
Right.
So if I want to pull out $100,000 out of this thing, I'm going to do it at 100%. I won't be able to do it 100%. Just making it easy.
Don, while you look for that, real quick, I know a lot of us who bought during the years of low interest rates have a psychological, we're like imprisoned by that, right? I feel like I can't touch it, right? And I know a lot of us feel that way. Even though I have all this equity, I just feel like, my cash flow is good and I just can't touch it.
Mhm.
Is that something your system, your program can help advise us on, where we have blind spots on limiting our growth because of that?
Okay. All right. Let's see. Locked in. Okay. Locked in to interest rates. I'm looking it up for you now. Okay. That's called being locked in.
Okay.
Let me see what I come up with, what Google tells me. Okay. All right. Locked in. When the lender, no, I don't want to lock the rate. Okay. Mortgage rate. Okay. There is a system, a situation where people feel locked in to a particular interest rate, just like you. They lose out on opportunities because they don't want to give up their 2.9 interest rate to get a 7% interest rate.
Right.
Okay. So it all depends on if the deal makes money. If I can pull money out to get more properties, but even though my interest rate is higher, but the rents that I get are going to still cover my payments and I can still cash flow, that's what you really need to look at. Can I make money at the higher interest rate by taking advantage of pulling cash out now?
Okay.
Not only that, but at a higher interest rate, my prepayments actually do more work for me. So if I pull out, all right, I refinance to I'm going to refinance 200,000. Okay. At 7, I'm going to give up my good interest rate, so-called. Okay. And now I have 1,300. I have a payment of 1,330.60 as opposed to the payment I had before at 2.9.
Right.
Okay. 1,330. All right. So listen, you're giving up an $832 payment to take on a 1,330.
$500.
Right.
Approximately.
So I'm going to take that, but I get to pull out that money to put down payment on maybe 2 or 3 other properties.
Right.
All right. So I can definitely make that up because of the rents that are being charged. Okay. Not only that, but look at my principal payments on the 2.9% loan. They start out at $349. I got to prepay $349.97 to kill $400 worth of interest and to knock out one payment. Okay. But at the 7%, all I need to do is come up with $164 to knock out one payment. And interest payments I skip don't matter.
Huh.
See, $2,000 knocks off 1 year off this loan. That's all the principal payments added up. $2,000 knocks off 1 year. But at 2.9, the $2,000 does this 6 months.
Huh.
If I'm a real estate investor, I want to know me and I want to take advantage of my autism.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to take advantage of your autism.
And that's what I see. That's what I see. There is just so much more to learn. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
But do you see the once you understand what's really going on, did you get an emotional high off of prepaying like $1,000 and then saving a ton of money? Oh, she just got a phone call. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes. Sorry, that was yes. That it is when I can see it on the screen like that,
Yeah.
it gives me an emotional tie to it, where it's tangible. It feels more tangible.
Right. Because you know that by prepaying $1,000, I can save 23 grand in interest I don't have to give to the bank to get the same equity. You talk about emotional. Oh, Lord. I get emotional over that. That's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, Holly, thank you so very much for your questions and everything. Listen, did anybody else have any other questions or comments on what we've just learned? In fact, if you're going to be in the Orlando area, I need you to meet us in Orlando January 31st. Go to popclive.com to get tickets. I'm going to be there all day. I'm going to be introducing even more information about how to never pay cash for a house or a car. Okay. Always borrow money for the longest term available. Never get a 15-year mortgage. All of those things. Okay. Now, based on what we had before, I'm going to get rid of some of these and I'm going to show why I never get a 15-year mortgage. Never, ever, ever, ever get a 15-year mortgage. Let's see here. I'm going to minimize that. Okay. Anybody want to see that? Anybody interested in why I never get a 15-year mortgage? Because you don't need permission to get a 15-year mortgage anyway. Did you know that? I always get a 30. I always get a 30. No matter what I'm doing, I always get a 30. Even if I'm refinancing to pull out cash to invest. Let's say you've been in the mortgage for, I don't know, 10 years. All right. So the wise person would say, well, just go ahead and get a 20-year mortgage so you don't have to start over. If I pull out cash to reinvest, I'm getting another 30-year mortgage. I am. And here's why. Okay. So we're going to take a look at this $200,000 mortgage at 7%. And I'm going to show it again at 180 payments. Now, when I show you this is going to be crazy. Okay. So I never get a 15-year mortgage because here is the 15-year payment. Okay. Now you can do this on your own. It's $1,797.66. Here is the 30-year payment, which is $1,330.60. Now, if you're still listening, Holly, could I get this 30-year mortgage and still make the 15-year payment, the $1,797.66, if I wanted to?
Yes.
Then why do people lock themselves into a 15-year mortgage when they don't have to? Just find out what the payment is. Even if you didn't know me, if you don't know anything about the P.I.L.L. method, never get a 15-year mortgage. Just find out what the payment would be and make it. If things get tight, you can always drop back to your 30-year mortgage payment, your $1,300. But if things get tight and you locked into this 15-year mortgage, you're stuck. You're stuck here unless you can refinance to get out of it. So I never get a 15-year mortgage. Now, Holly, I'm getting ready to blow your mind once more, since you're the only one talking to me right now. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Ready for you.
All right. So here is my first interest payment on the 30-year mortgage. Okay. Here is my first interest payment on my 15-year mortgage. Does it look exactly the same?
Yes.
That's because it is.
Huh.
Okay, look, that's 30-year. That's 15 years. Let's look at cumulative interest for the first year. This is 30 years, $1,300, almost $14,000, $13,935. Let's take a look at the 15-year. $13,752. Not much difference, is it? Okay. Can I show you the same thing on a 10-year mortgage? That's 120 payments. See, my autism showed me this too. Okay. Look at the payment. It's $2,322.17. But let's take a look at the first interest payment. Exactly the same. $1,166.67. So it's based on the amortizing using a 7% interest rate. Here's what they're doing. They're taking 1/12 of the interest rate and multiplying it by the unpaid balance. So if I start out with $200, it doesn't matter what the term is. My first interest payment is going to be the same because they're taking 1/12 of the interest rate and multiplying it by the unpaid balance. But because of that, here is the difference in the loan. And this is where we're not taught to look. The difference is the principal payment. How much do I have to prepay on the 120-month loan? Okay. To get rid of one payment, I got to prepay $1,162. That's on the 10-year loan. Okay. This is on the what is this? This is 108. This is the 15-year loan. I have to prepay $634 to get rid of one. But on the 30-year loan, look at my prepayment. $164. $2,000 gets rid of a whole year off of this loan. You better believe I'm taking the higher term all the time because it gives you more leverage, it gives you more opportunities, and the longer the term, the slightly higher rate, you can save more interest once you start prepaying. Why haven't we been taught this before? Because what we're not taught is how much interest you save when you prepay. If I gave your accountant, your CPA, $500 and said, CPA, he or she, put this extra $500 on your mortgage. Now tell me how much interest you saved. They couldn't tell me because they're not taught that math in school. There's a reason why we don't know this. Would you like to know the true reason why we don't understand amortization? Anybody?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Okay, here's why. Because of every mortgage you ever encountered, most, if not all of them, were sold within a few days of closing. Is that true for you?
Correct.
Okay. They're sold to an investor. Okay. So now, if I'm an investor, have you ever sold a property, Holly, and you did it on what's called seller financing?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, let's say you can. All right. You are saying, listen, I'm going to sell this to you, but you pay me. You're going to pay me.
Right.
Right. So they're going to buy this $200,000 from you at 7%, and they make their very first payment. Okay. But you get to discount it by $1,100. So only $163 pays down the mortgage. How good does that make you feel if you are selling this property? That you're making this kind of money?
Good.
Okay. All right. So in the first year, they paid you almost $16,000, but only $2,000 of the $16,000 counted to pay the loan down. How good does that make you? How does that make you feel?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Okay. But they watched some of my videos. Okay. And instead of waiting a whole year to give you $2,000 over 12 months, they gave you $2,000 in the first month. Paid the loan down to here in 1 month. And all it cost them was $1,166.67. Now, how do you feel?
Well, I just lost like 11 grand.
You just did, didn't you?
Yeah.
So if you are in the system we're in now, and your mortgages are sold to investors who invest in mortgage-backed securities, do you want everybody and their brother to know this?
No.
No, you do not. Our whole banking system is based on this. And that's why it's not taught in school. That's why mortgage professionals are not taught this. This is why real estate professionals are not taught this. This is why financial planners are not taught this. This is why CPAs are not taught how this works. I've never run into anyone anywhere at any time in 19 years that understands how an amortization schedule works from this point of view.
Don,
Yes.
Can you compare the cumulative principal on the 30-year versus the 15?
Cumulative principal, yeah. Okay, so here's the 30-year. All right. Here is the 15. Yeah, here's the 15-year. Okay. All right. Here's the cumulative principal on the 15. It's $13,752. And here's the 30-year, $13,935.
So you're saying you have to pay so much, I mean, like $5,000 more to save the same amount of interest, basically.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly it.
Jeez.
What do you think about that?
I think I need to join the P.I.L.l. method.
But see, this is the only place you're going to learn that. Okay. It costs so much more. So this is the 15-year. This is the 10-year mortgage. Now I got to come up with $14,000 prepaid to save about the same amount of interest. Crazy, isn't it?
It really is.
That's why I want this. This is why we don't get to learn this in school. We just kind of assumed that we knew more about amortization than we really did. Okay? That's the fallacy of knowledge. How about that? Well, listen, I hope you guys are benefiting from mortgages paid off in about 7 years through Autism Insights. This is what I see. So I'm going to invite you one more time. Come on down to see us in Orlando. I'm going to put that on the screen. POPCLIVE. This is the website. There it is. So you can still get your $200 tickets. I'm going to be there all day. And we're going to have a total of 4 speakers there for only $200. And it includes a plated lunch. And we don't mess around when it comes to the food. Okay. And it's not a box lunch. You're going to have your choice between salmon, steak, or chicken. And I mean salad and all the trimmings, everything, not on a paper plate either. Okay. You're going to be treated like royalty at this thing for just $200. And guess what we're selling at the back of the room? Nothing. Nothing will be sold at the back of the room. Get your tickets today. All right. And get this. General admission, savings report. You're going to get a free savings report. You're going to get, there's going to be network opportunities, plate at lunch, question and answer sessions just like this. Just even on my, you're going to get an hour worth of consultation with me included in this $200. So my course is $4,600. The savings report is worth over $1,000. The consultation with me, even my discounted consultation is $50. Even my book that I sell on Amazon is $50, and you're going to get a book too. Just the consultation in the book is $200, and you're going to get that at the conference. What can I say? What can I say? So if you're in the area in Orlando, you want to be there. If you're not going to be there and you want to get a savings and earnings report, here you go. Go to ICE10K.com. ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com. Scroll down under E.T.'s picture, Eric Thomas, hip hop preacher, the number one motivational speaker in the world right now. Scroll down and see this button, get your savings and earnings report right there. Fill this information out. Step 1, that's your contact information. And then click, yes, I want to save, and put in your financial information we asked for. One of my staff will get that information, call you to confirm the financial data. Once it's confirmed, we will run a 2-page report and tell you how much interest you can save and the month, day, and year you can be debt-free, or in the case of a real estate investor, when it makes sense, what year it makes sense to cash out refi. And it's going to be 10 to 15 years sooner than normal. Okay, so you can get all of that information for free. Holly said, I'm doing it now. I love it. I love it. I love it. So any other questions or comments, people? I see Keen T. Adams online here saying, let me see here, says, this is eye-opening. Thanks for the info. And Tamra says, thank you for this teaching. This was a lot of fun. Oh, you think this was fun? Wait till you see me live in Orlando. You really want to see that. Or when I'm in Philadelphia in March, okay, right after my birthday. So March 20 and 22nd, and I'll give you more information about that next week. We just closed that deal out yesterday. I'm getting all the final things on which day I'm actually going to speak. Is either the first or the second day. I don't know yet, but we'll be there. I'll give you that information next week when we meet right back here in this room at the same time. That is 7 a.m. Central. That's 8 a.m. Eastern. We'll be right back here with more valuable information. Does anybody have any particular questions, or what subject would you like for me to handle next week? What financial question would you like for me to handle next week? Anybody? All right. Let's see. What happens when mortgage payment increases due to taxes or homestead? Okay. Now, okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that. What happens when it increases? Let's go to that. All right. Let's talk about that. All right. Now, depending on the type of mortgage, okay, when my taxes or insurance increases, all right, especially if you're in real estate, you have the option most of the time to take the increase to cover the shortfall in your escrow account. Okay, you can take the increase. They'll take the increase and divide it over 12 months, and that will increase your payment. Or you can pay it one time and keep your payment the same. So let's say it's going to increase by $1,000 for the year. Okay. Instead, I'm sorry, let's say $1,200 for the year. So instead of raising your payment by $100 a month, pay the $1,200 up front and your payment will remain the same. Does that make sense, everybody? Here's the other thing I love to do. If it's the type of mortgage that you can do this with, I opt out of escrow altogether. There it is. If I can do it, I opt out of escrow altogether, and I use that money that I can put away for myself. I can leverage small amounts of that money to kill interest on my loan. But Don, how in the world can I pay my taxes and insurance if I use up the money? I didn't say use it all up. I just said strategically use it. But I pay my taxes and insurance with a credit card. Maybe your state will allow that too. I will borrow the money from a credit card. I'll show you how to pay minimum interest on that credit card and take that cash and to remove thousands upon thousands of dollars in interest from your loan, from your mortgage. So if I've got to pay Visa a small amount of money so that I can keep from paying a larger amount of money on my mortgage, I will arbitrage Visa all day. Okay? I'll make Visa work for me. Plus, I will also get points for doing that. Now, I like American Express. My wife and I just got back from DR the other day. And if you look at my Instagram, sitting right across from me was Governor, the former governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie. All right. And you'll see him when he was standing in the airport. So I got a chance to meet him. And he's a very pleasant guy. Okay. Very pleasant guy. So he was in DR. And so we were flying back on the same flight. And guess what? That flight, all points. Okay. It was my Amex points. So my wife and I always fly first class or on long haul flights, intercontinental flights. We'll fly business class, all points. Come on. So you can learn how to use these credit cards to make them work for you, not the other way around. Okay. So anyway, Holly says, we just got back from South America. All points. There you go. Holly, the investor agent. Look at it. Let's put that on the screen. We just got back from South America. All points. You better know it, Holly. You better know that. Okay. That's what we're talking about. Listen, I love when we learn how to use money correctly, how to leverage the bank's money and then get paid for using it. I can't think of anything better. How about you? Anybody else got anything for us out there? All right. So I had some other questions. Leverage usage. Okay. Leverage. All leverage means is this. What is the least amount of effort I can put into something to get the biggest return? So when you are investing, right now the stock market is open. Okay. And I learned some information yesterday. Let me see what. I bought some more NVIDIA yesterday. Let me see what it's doing today. I'm pulling it up on a separate screen you won't be able to see. Okay. And NVIDIA is on the rise. Okay. Why did I buy more NVIDIA yesterday after hours? I'm going to tell you why. Because President Trump came on TV, all right, after the market closed and announced a huge infrastructure for building data centers. All right. And for AI. You need data centers for AI. And these, you need chips for that, and you need electricity. So the most advanced chips that I know of are NVIDIA chips. So I figured that let me go ahead and buy some more NVIDIA because of that announcement yesterday. And lo and behold, NVIDIA's up today. How about that? All right, let's see. Holly, what is Holly saying here? It says, I would think you could have the mortgage company disentangle it. I'm telling you, folks, I love this information, being in this space. Oh, you're answering Jerry? Okay, got it. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what we can do to save more money. All right. So let me see what I mentioned some other things here. Let's see. We talked about, I didn't get a chance to talk about interest only loans. Did you know that the very best loan is if I'm a real estate investor, or if I'm buying my house as I'm a residential property? The very best loan out there is an interest-only mortgage, and it's interest-only for the first 10 years, and it's a variable rate loan, and I love it. Does anybody have any questions about that? I see Derek in here. Derek, what are you doing in the audience? All right, let me invite you up here, Derek. Okay. He always calls me big bro, so I call him little bro. Derek, can we get you up here, brother? What's happening?
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Dunn? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, man. We're trying to get. We are selling tickets here. We're getting people ready for Orlando in a couple of weeks.
Good stuff. Well, did you tell the people that I'm coming too?
I did. I told them we'll have 4
Or did you make it all about yourself, Dunn? I know it's your event, man, but did you at least tell the people I'm coming?
No, I didn't mention your name specifically, but since you're here, let's do that. Derek will be there, and he is the ILF master. Derek, will you please tell them what ILF stands for?
Absolutely, guys. Good morning, everybody. My name is Derek Forston, and the ILF stands for Independent Living Facility. So we simply break it down like this. If you love God, love people, and love real estate, we show people how to mesh all of those together, right? So just like you see that picture in my profile, that's not a group home, right? That's not an ALF, which stands for an assisted living facility. That's an ILF. And this is an environment where we take adults from homeless to hopeful. And again, what makes it pretty cool, Don, you don't have to own the property. So most people that we teach this to come into it through a rental arbitrage method. So literally, man, to make this a long story short, we go out and rent or lease. Now, you can buy the building, God bless you. But most people that we teach this to, they go out and rent or lease a 3-bed, 2-bath home, 4-bed, 2-bath home. And then they connect with social workers, case managers, and social service type people in the community. And that serves as what we would call the funnel system. That's how we're getting these great people. And again, even though we use the term homeless or displaced, all the people that we serve receive a guaranteed income either through SSI, SSDI, or a job at McDonald's or Burger King, right? So again, we sum it up by just telling people, no matter where you live at today, guys, it's expensive. So we want to be the answer to affordable housing in our respective cities. And we think that we've solved the affordable housing problem through what we call shared housing. Some people call it co-living. Some people call it communal living. Me and my family just decided to trademark the term independent living facility, which again is the exact opposite of an ALF, which stands for an assisted living facility. The people that we have are completely independent. And I jokingly always say that they can cook their own bologna sandwich, they can provide their own transportation, and they can take their own medications if they're on any without the need for a nurse or an LPN or any kind of license. So again, you don't have to own the property. And this involves the love of God, real estate, and social services all in one.
Derek Forston, when you first heard about this and you met a lady, how much was she making per month using this model?
Absolutely, Don. As you know, man, I met a lady making $41,000 a month, ladies and gentlemen, right? And I'm going to just pick on a few people in the audience. Sheree and Miss Martina, if you guys made $41,000 every 30 days, would that change your life a little bit? But Don, the only difference in that lady and the way that we do it, this lady was housing people in rats and roaches. And that's what started this whole story, guys, over 7-8 years ago. God literally showed me my dream, Don, through somebody else that was doing it the wrong way. And like you said, Don, $41,000 a month this lady was making. And Don, I was a poor social worker making $28,000 a year, begging God to get me into the game of real estate, begging for God to get me into the game of like helping people. And dummy me, man, I'm on this job for 9 years before the light bulb came on and said, Derek, what are you doing? Why don't you be the other guy on the other side of the fence? So Ivan, but between God, myself, my family, we took a leap of faith and I scraped up some money to rent a place. And that was 7 years ago. And now today, man, we oversee over 400 ILFs in 37 states.
Wow. Wow. So Derek, tell me this, Derek, is it possible to start out doing the arbitrage method where you are renting or leasing the property, and then what you're doing is then renting out per bed around, what can I say, about $700 per bed?
Absolutely. So just to make the math easy, yes. So most people, Don, they just can't go out and buy a house tomorrow. Neither could I. Mm-hmm. So with that social worker, man, I was like, man, I can probably rent a house though. And I'll admit, you know, I often talk about the lady that made the 41 grand a month mistreating people, but I do always give her credit for telling me one thing, because Don, she wouldn't teach it to me. She says, Derek, I don't own these places. You think I own this real estate, Derek? And I was like, yeah. She was like, no, I don't. I rent these places. And Don, that's all I needed to know. She didn't need to teach me after knowing that. Wow. Because as that poor social worker, Don, I was like, man, I can scrape up enough money to go out and lease a place. And that's where it started from. So we teach it from the rental arbitrage method, and we rent by the bed, not by the room. So in a 4-bed, 2-bath home, Don, that allows us through this model to take 8 people from homeless to hopeful. And all 8 people pay their own individual rent because we supply the lights, the water, the cable, the Wi-Fi, the insurance, the alarm system. All that's on us. So we're known as a one-stop shop when you come live at one of our ILFs.
Wow. So is it possible that I can have more than one ILF and then so many that I can actually have enough income and start to buy these properties instead of just rent them?
Absolutely. That's the goal, Don. Rent it or lease it until you accumulate enough money, right? So definitely don't go and buy the Gucci belt or the Gucci bag and because you're now making money, but reinvest that back into scaling. And that's why renting or leasing, guys, I often tell people, even though ownership is the goal, guys, you can lease and scale this business faster through leasing or renting. Because right now, Don, I can lease a house once a month, right? But I cannot buy a home physically or financially once a month. So that's the cheat code again for most people, man. This rental arbitrage method. I'll stand on 10 toes with anybody that argues with me that this isn't one of the greatest ways to get into real estate. Because again, it involves the love of God, social services, helping people, and real estate. And most of you all that are in this room, you're probably here because one way or another, you want to be involved in real estate or learn how to pay off real estate. That's why you're following Don. That's why the event, January 31st, guys, is so powerful. Because if you like what you're hearing from me, can you imagine mixing this with Don Daniels' P.I.L.L. method? Don, we literally had a room on Monday night where I showed people how we bought a house on a credit card, right? Using business credit. And I showed them the birth strategy. And Don, there were so many moments in that where I told them that if they join this birth strategy in real estate with what you do, man, lights out if you do that.
You know, at the P.I.L.L. method, you know what we call that, Derek? We call that iceberg, not iceberg, but iceberg.
Ooh, love it. Love it.
Interest cancellation expert with the BRRRR method. Why is that important? Because you're able to cash out refi, the refi part 10 to 15 years sooner. Okay, folks. So here's what we're talking about. Is the real estate part is great, but if you just focus on the cash flow, you're not focusing in the right place. What you should be focusing on is how you can increase net worth. Net worth is the key here. You can be worth, if you do this thing right, you can be worth multiple millions of dollars if you do it right. So you can build up, so you can be, listen, you can do good for the community and good for your family generationally.
That's it.
Oh my gosh.
Martina says in the chat, thanks, this is powerful information. And Martina, I thank you for saying that, but this is why we're telling people, not because Don and I are so great. It's just that the information that we both have individually, when you put them together, now we're talking family legacy. Don talks a lot about what are you going to leave your family when you leave this earth? A bunch of debt and a bunch of bills? Or could it be real estate and a strategy, P.I.L.L. method, of how do you get out of debt and become financially free? So guys, one more time, man, again, if you love God, love people, and love real estate, but you never knew how to mesh them all together, I implore you guys to visit popclive.com, and that's POPCLIVE.com, and make no mistake about it, guys. This is absolute Don's event. But we're just blessed enough to be speaking at it, and I appreciate that. In fact, Don told me yesterday, in fact, where I'm going to be speaking at in terms of what time frame. So I'm excited. My team is already in the phase of building my PowerPoint that I'll be presenting. But my job is to show you guys how to be the answer to affordable housing in your city and not need $30,000 or $40,000 as a down payment to go and buy a place. Martina, why can't we do rental arbitrage and go and rent the dadgum building? Still build the relationships, because all of my coaching and what we talk about a lot is relationship. How do we fill these houses now that we have them? And then if you do have the opportunity to buy eventually, if you guys don't tap into the P.I.L.L. method to be able to cash out refi sooner, pay off faster, and again, be able to scale it, again, you'd almost be doing yourself a disservice, man, if you didn't combine Don and I's information together. Don, I'm going to land it there, big bro. I don't want to take over the stage. Thank you for allowing me to share it. I see my wife is actually up here on stage too.
I see
she
her.
Does exactly what we do from a nonprofit standpoint. So
I see her in here. Listen, if you guys, I don't know what you've got going on today, but if Shay or you have some pictures you want to show on our YouTube channel, just let me know. I'll send you the link. And Derek, I already know I need Shay to run that.
You already know, man. I'm not the techie guy. You know, I messed that up. Done, I'll shut this whole show down by mistake. And we'll be like, oh my God, what just happened? Derek trying to do something. So guys, I'm not very techie at all. I'm really good at housing people and coaching, but I'm not the techie person at all.
So Shay, tell us about the nonprofit side of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everybody. My name is Shanya Shea Forston. Everybody calls me Shay. I am an ILF owner and operator, but I do this under the nonprofit. I'm structured as a nonprofit. So the amazing thing about having my program set up as a nonprofit organization is the access to funds and funding. I'm able to do things like subsidize bed fees. I'm able to do things like have, a food pantry in my ILF. I was telling people at our last event, Don, that June, we actually received a $10,000 grant for a food pantry. So I was able to implement full-fledged, I'm talking about food for the year for my residents. And I'm not talking about just canned goods. I'm talking about hamburgers, fish, steak, chicken, cases of chicken, all sorts of stuff we were able to provide. And doing this through a nonprofit organization, again, the housing is just one of the parts of my program. I have other things that we do, like right now, my living room, Derek's going to have my neck, is full of toiletry totes. So toiletry totes is one of our campaigns where we hand out bags of toiletries to the homeless, those that are unhoused. We also partner with schools, other community programs that need the access to these toiletries, and we provide that to them through the Angela Denise Foundation. So again, being an ILF owner and operator, although I'm a nonprofit organization, I can do more than just house, right? I can get more opt-in from my community and from other organizations. I can get donations. I don't have to worry about, like, prime example, the house that we purchased on, it was fully furnished by CityServe Orlando. And CityServe is a huge organization that has hubs throughout the nation, and they provide other nonprofit organizations with anything, like whatever they get overflowing in furniture. And like, prime example, y'all know the Love Sack. You see it all on TV, those amazing Love Sack couches. Dawn, you sat on the Love Sack at my lady's house.
Okay.
So Love Sacks are about, a Love Sack sectional can start off at about $1,500 to $2,000. I got a brand new Love Sack sectional that is in my ILF. Okay, brand new, no, like everything, the TV stand, all sorts of stuff that comes to us, brand new, that we get to place in our ILF. The only thing I had to pay for was a truck to go pick it up, guys.
Wow.
So these are the things that I can do from the ILF perspective as a nonprofit organization. It's all about the relationships. It's all about funding. It's all about donors and having the ability to access grants. And then think about that, Dawn. I have a home now that's paid for, is being paid for by the income that I'm receiving from my residents. And now think about me now implementing the P.I.L.L. method. If I don't take a payment, or, if my board agrees to say, hey, let's align ourselves to pay this debt off in 7 to 9 years, which we're having our first board meeting, Dawn. So you are on the agenda, sir. So just think about that now. I don't take a paycheck from my nonprofit anyway. So why not take those funds that I would have been paying myself and now allocate them towards paying off that mortgage?
Wow.
So that's the benefit of being nonprofit, guys.
Well, I tell you what. So listen, talk to us, because I also know you serve as transitional housing from homelessness to your facility to someone living in their own apartment or house. How does that work? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it's setting up and establishing those relationships again. So like right now, apartment complexes, we're setting out to really nurture and cultivate new relationships in the community with leasing agents or leasing organizations or companies that have access to many, 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 many apartment complexes. And we show them that we've been able to, these individuals have lived with us 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years at a time and have been successful in consistent rent, maintaining jobs. And we vouch for that client or that resident in order to help position them into their own place. Another thing that we do from my nonprofit standpoint is I will write a grant. This year we will be applying for several grants that will help us to navigate them financially by providing them the opportunity to, hey, we'll cover your rent for 6 months and now allow you to pay down whatever debt needs to be paid down so you can get your credit cleaned up and now pursue that opportunity in being, your own either homeowner or a renter. So that's the goal with the Angela Denise Foundation. Derek, you can speak a little bit more on what we're doing with the mobile homes and modular homes.
Yeah, so like for the last 7 years, like if you guys even go to my Instagram or Facebook, we've been screaming the ILF model for 7, 8 years now. But now for the first time ever, we're moving this model inside of the mobile home parks, which is going to give the opportunity to now offer ownership. I posted on my Instagram page not long ago of a mobile home that was beautiful, guys, for only $5,000. So can you imagine owning it? Even though there's lot rent that's still due every month, to me, that blows my mind that we can own a 2-bed, 1-bath unit for only $5,000 and now only owe the lot rent. So there's a lot of people that, for years we've been getting calls for people that want their own 1-bedroom apartment, their own studio. And for the first time ever, we're excited that because of the mobile home play, we're going to be able to combine that. And again, guys, January 31st, what you guys are hearing now is the newer part of what we're doing, but we want you guys to come to Orlando, Florida, January 31st, so we can continue with this conversation about shared housing, real estate, and how do you combine that with the P.I.L.L. method. So as I see the room is growing now, a lot of the people that are coming in, guys, share this room with somebody you know loves God, loves real estate, and loves helping people, but also want to be financially free. If you know a pastor or a bishop right now that owns or runs a church or that is in church leadership, tag them in this room, because we're simply talking about real estate, the love of God, right, and social services, and meshing it all together, but also becoming financially free. So again, I just want to make sure that I put that out. Please, guys, share the room. I also put information in the chat that if you wanted more info on kind of what we do and what to look forward to seeing January 31st, text the phrase "more info" to the phone number 407-326-0086. I put that in the chat, and I'm going to give it back over to Don now for more questions.
Listen, folks, I want to tell you that the course I'm offering is just a mini version of my $4,600 course. $4,600. My add to that a discounted hour for consultations, $150. Add to that my book, and you go on Amazon right now. My book on this subject is the most expensive book on Amazon, which is $50. Okay, all of that. So that's what I'm providing. Derek, your information. If somebody were to call you up and say, Derek, will you teach me this? What are you charging to teach this to individuals?
So our one-on-one coaching is called the ILF Master Blueprint, and it's $7,500, right? And comes with a lot of stuff. But January 31st, Don, I'm giving the game away. So there is no question that would be unanswered. And again, my job, because again, Don, these people don't know this, but you do. Don, I promised God over 9 years ago that if he allowed me to leave my job and get into what I saw this lady doing, making 41 grand a month, mistreating people and rats and roaches, I said, God, if you let me get into this and it changed my life, I promise to go all over the world teaching it, and I'll never take any credit. So when we come to events like this, guys, yes, I got coaching, I got all kind of courses and ebooks, but this event, guys, for only $200, Don's and I information together, guys, is over $17,000, right? So to come to this event for only $200, and we're going to feed you. So we don't believe in giving you guys like plastic bag sandwiches and plastic silverware. Guys, you're getting a plated lunch, glassware, and we're going to be in a 5-star hotel. So please know that this is a 5-star event. And again, guys, what you're going to get and the impact that you can take back to your city, to me, is what's most important. And again, forget about Don and I for 2 seconds, but the information that we're bringing, guys. In fact, put a number 7 in the chat if you told yourself today, this morning, or this year that things are going to be different this year. I'm going to get into real estate. I'm going to get out of debt. Put a number 7 in the chat if you said this year things were going to be different. Because if you are one of those people, January 31st, man, is a great opportunity to start that right now. Because again, if you like what you're hearing on the side of what Don is talking about, and obviously you do because you're here. Don holds this room down, to my knowledge, every Tuesday. I got to get with Jonathan to get me a slot in here too. Because I would love to give a slot in this Monday through Sunday thing to talk to y'all about what we do. But when you join Don and I together, man, that's like fireworks on the 4th of July. And I'll land my plane there.
Listen, we're going to open up the floor to questions. Come up to the stage. Raise your hand. Come on up. Anybody got any questions for myself?
And there's some questions in the chat as well. Yeah.
Holly had a question, Derek, and she said, I tried to do a rent by the room room/bed once, and was told the city would shut it down as it would qualify as a room and house. So I wonder if this is an ask for forgiveness situation.
So I kind of answered it in the chat. She's going to love this answer because she, as you know, people thought I was crazy when I told them I was going to open up such a housing model with no license, no doctors, no nurses. So Holly, my city also told me the same thing, but through the grace of God and such a need for housing, I teach this in 37 states now, right? So my city also said, Derek, you can't do this here. But my same city now, they beg for this. And in fact, Holly, if you go on my Instagram page, not even 5 days ago, I'm showing you how we're walking into the police department because they're begging for this model because they got this new program called Reentry Transformative something. But they found us on Instagram, me running my big mouth talking about housing. And now we're going to be taking care of the housing for Orlando and Orange County when it comes to people that are trying to re-enter back into the community when they've done well and served their time. So don't be afraid of when you get kicked back from this, guys. I was also told no, but remember, essentially, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a group home and this is not an ALF. We're not caring for people that need me to feed them. Our clients cook their own bologna sandwich. We're not housing people that need me to give them medications. Guys, I'm not a nurse. I'm not an LPN, and I'm surely not a CNA. Guys, I only got a big heart for people, God, and I love real estate. So the people that we're housing are completely independent. So watch this. To the core of what we're doing, guys, we're renting rooms to people. The only difference between us, though, and the guy in your city that's doing it, Holly, is that we have rules behind it. There's structure behind it. And this is not a free-for-all, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes when people hear us talk about this model, they think that we just take a call and we move people in. We do something that's called an assessment. So there's a series of questions to qualify people to move in, Sheree, to make sure that we're not running some clown show. Because to be honest to all you guys, Miss Tarver, when I started this 7 years ago and opened up my first facility, it was a clown show. Because I moved in anybody that needed a place to live. And that's a mistake. Because that's what it's going to look like, a clown show. So over the years, we developed what we call an assessment. Watch this. That simply means a series of questions that allows me and you, Mr. Zed, to make a sound decision about who you moving into that place. Because Martina, if you just take calls from anybody and everybody and move people in, Mr. Ken, that's going to be a clown show, bro. And I did that firsthand. So the assessment is what makes this successful and housing the right avatar. Some of you guys call it avatar, tenant, client, whatever word you choose. But that assessment allows this thing to run like a sewing machine. Okay? Makes sense? So don't be afraid of that. We're housing people that are independent. This is not a group home, right? And this is not a rooming house either. Big difference. Wow. Back on you, Mr. Dunn, for questions.
Derek, I can give a very quick example of how independent our residents are. Prime example, I think it was last week, Friday, got a text message from two of the residents in the home, and they were like, hey, resident name is not feeling well. She's actually en route to the hospital. This is the hospital she's going to. We've already communicated with her son, and all is well. We just wanted to make you aware. These are the type of residents, and this is the type of community that has ended up being fostered in our ILF. Again, this is a group of women who would have never, ever known each other unless they had stumbled upon this situation in their life circumstance that brought them to the Angela Denise Foundation. And prime example, like I said, they've nurtured relationships in such a way that they look out for one another, right? So there's a lot of cohesion in the house. And I think what people, when they hear of this model, the first thing they think of disaster. How do you put perfect strangers in a home and expect them to cohabitate, right? Or to live successfully? And it's possible. And what we're seeing is how we're doing that is by, again, like Derek said, that assessment, knowing who you already have in your home and how to add based on those that you already have. And that is something that we train deeply on within our ILF Mastery Blueprint product, within our ILF Mastery Blueprint coaching. So I just wanted to share that because I think a real life experience is, very helpful when people are trying to consider, what does this mean? How does this even work? And how do you do it? So just wanted to share that information, Derek.
Absolutely.
Wow, wow. Any other questions out there? And just so that you know, Holly, I live in Huntsville, Alabama, not that far from you. Within 3 hours, I flew into the Atlanta, the ATL. So there's no reason why we can't get together for lunch and then figure out how we can work together, since you are in real estate. Okay, let's work this together, because not only can you take advantage of this, but just think your clients. How about offering to them, listen, work with me and pay off that 30-year mortgage in 7 to 9 years. Oh my gosh, what could you do? She's doing the holy hands. Okay, any other questions out there for myself or Derek or Shay? Any other questions? Come on up. Go ahead.
Derek. Yeah, Derek, how's everybody doing on the panel? Derek, I actually messaged you back in July in regards to sober living, and I actually have a couple of rental properties that I would love to actually kind of use for that model, but don't really know who to contact to kind of get that process going. So yes, maybe we could probably talk offline, or maybe if you have a training, whatnot. I just stepped into the room, so I don't really know what you guys have talked about in previously. So I would just I would like to get into it. Right now I have a 5-bedroom, 3-bath readily available in the South Jersey area, and I have another one in Atlantic City as well. So
perfect. So I got great instruction for you. So I put it in the chat already, and I see a few you have done it, because I can actually see it because it comes straight to my phone. And again, thank you so much, Romel. I appreciate that. If you text the phrase, in fact, 10 of y'all just do it now and watch how fast it happens. If you guys text the phrase more info, so that's MOREINFO, text that to the phone number 407-326-0086. And that'll literally give you our introductory webinar. Once my team sees that you've watched that webinar, they're going to send you a link to book a call with me. And it's all automated, so they won't miss it. In other words, if you watch that webinar, that guarantees you an absolute free discovery call with me. And we can even talk about your properties and how can we get you started. So that's the method. And we're also on YouTube every Monday and Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I'll put this stuff in the chat. And we recently started coming back on Clubhouse. I dropped off of Clubhouse about 1.5 years ago and went super hard on YouTube. So, but here lately, we've been kind of streaming back to Clubhouse. So make sure you guys join us every Monday and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, where all we talk about is shared housing, real estate, the love of God, the love for people, and meshing it all together. And then the answer to affordable housing in your city.
Can you actually repeat that telephone number one more time?
I sure will. 407-326-0086.
Thank you.
And I hope I said that the first time too. I got so many of those phone numbers in my head. I'm also going to retype it in the chat. But yeah, use that number and text the phrase more info. You will immediately get the instruction for the webinar. And that'll also set you up with a call with us. Absolutely. And if you have property already, I'll just go ahead and say this, right? People that come to us and they already have the property, you guys are probably 50% further than most people that I'll ever teach. Because a lot of people come to me without the property. So I got to teach you how to go and rent or lease that place, right? So one more time, if you already have the property, essentially, you're 50% ahead of most people I'll ever teach this from day one. So feel really good about your position right now, okay?
Derek, I do want to add something for Romel, because I did hear him say sober living.
Mm-hmm.
And every state is so significantly different when it comes to their guidelines in sober living. There are different expectations. So prime example, we have a young lady that started with us under the ILF model, which was independent. And she, being a nurse, transitioned over to sober living. That took her about 9 months to do. And now she cannot. So hear what I'm saying, and this is different states, but in the state of Orlando, she cannot operate independent and sober living together. Okay. So in order for her to do independent living, where people do not need to, they're not under the sober living guidelines, they cannot cohabitate. So she has to she had to create another business entity in order to operate her independent living. So there's a difference in the sober living model and the independent living model. Sober living may come with some medication management in regards to, you know, their some of the meds that they may be using as they're off of their drug addiction or their usage of addiction. And so there's a stark difference. So you want to make sure that you find the guidelines for your state, because sober living is a licensed housing model.
Yeah, and sometimes people use that term really loosely. So if you just mean you want a house and you don't want your guys on drugs, well, me either. So that's a part of my rules anyway. But I don't call it sober living. Yeah. But like Shay said, if you want to be a real sober living, that actually may come with some kind of license or certification that you need. It may be a 12-step program that you're either running or can tap into. So, but to kind of drill it down, my program is also kind of sober living because my rule number 6 says no drugs and no alcohol of any kind. Right? So just to kind of put that out there. And to answer Holly's question, do we rent them furnished? Absolutely, Holly. So that picture that you see in my profile, that's how Jonathan or Michael or Luke or Lisa walks into our place. It's already furnished. So Holly, we're known as a one-stop shop. So, for example, Holly, that bed that you're viewing right now, if that's a 4-bed, 2-bath home, that means I have the ability to house 8 people and take them from homeless to hopeful. We take care of the lights, the water, the cable, the Wi-Fi, the cameras, the security system, the insurance. All the external bills are on us. So one more time, Holly, we want to be known as a one-stop shop. We want to make it easy. So my guys don't pay internet and lights and water separately. Imagine them paying $700, one set fee, and it covers everything. So that's also the convenience, Holly, of the ILF model. Make sense?
Well, and I've actually seen this one of their houses. It was immaculate. Listen, the work that was put into it. They took a pool and turned it into a deck. I mean, my goodness.
Absolutely.
What they're doing with these models, and they're clean, they're efficient. Listen, this is someplace you wouldn't mind staying in. But listen, Derek, you're not just housing the homeless. What about people who are underemployed?
Also, absolutely. So, Don, because when I first started and my background in terms of me being a social worker, I'll admit, guys, my love is the bipolar, the schizophrenic, the major depressive disorder, the schizoaffective disorder, like all of that stuff, Don. That's my background. I love that stuff. But what we've seen in the last 18 to 24 months, Don, it's not only the mental health guy. Guess what, Holly? Everybody needs a place to live. And guess what? I don't care where you live at. Sandy, it's expensive no matter where you live at in all 50 states. So today, instead of it just being the guy with schizophrenia, we're housing the guy that's got a job at McDonald's, the greeter at Walmart, the ex-police officer, the substitute school teacher. So I call these, Don, the everyday Joe. Because when I first started, Don, I'll admit, I didn't house the everyday Joe. Everybody had a mental health problem. But now today, Don, because it's so expensive, big bro, to live anywhere, we're finding the guy that's got a 9-to-5 job. Watch this. Some of y'all are working with people right now that when you guys clock out at 5 p.m. and go home, this guy goes to sleep in his car or at Wawa or the Walmart parking lot, but shows up to work the next day and you don't even know it. So, Don, I'm housing a lot of people that have a 9-to-5 job, but they can't afford their own apartment. They don't make 3 times the monthly rental rate. He can't pass a background check. All of these things that will stop most people from renting or getting into a place, that's where we become the middleman at, Don. Don, I'm that next step before someone goes to the street. Because some of the people that I'm housing, Don, quite frankly, they can't pass a background check. They don't have 3 times the monthly rental rate to give me. So again, Don, and guess what's the name of my program? Second Chance. So 7 years ago when this idea came to me, I said, Don, you know what? I'm serving a lot of people that have, quite frankly, screwed up a lot in life. But I want to make it to when they come to my program, I don't care if they're on their 99th chance. When they meet me, today is your second chance, bro, and let's start all over. So that's where all of this came from. And if you guys can listen closely to how we're saying things, I'm not a pastor. I'm not a bishop. I'm not a preacher. We just happen to love God. We love people and we love real estate. And this is the way for us to also do God's will. God said it, not me, Don. God said in the Bible, the poor and the needy will always be among us. It also says in the Bible that when you do unto the least of these, God said it's like you're doing it unto me. And I always tell people, man, if you want to be on somebody's books of somebody that owe you a favor, how about being on God's books? Because God said, bro, you're doing me a favor if you're housing the least of thee. Because Don, quite frankly, and I landed here, I house a lot of people that a lot of people just turn their backs on or turn their head to because of what they may look like, smell like, what they've been through in their past. But here at Second Chance Housing, in the way that we teach it through Forster Consultants, we don't care about your past. We believe in giving everybody a second chance. Make sense, everybody?
Makes sense to me, Derek. Listen, folks, we've got I've got just about a half hour left in this show. And if you've got any questions about anything that you've heard today, now is the time to come to the stage or put it in the chat. Let's get your questions answered because we want to bring you information that is life-changing. And this is what the P.I.L.L. method is about. Prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. For the first time, you can understand what my autism can bring to your finances. And we have built a computer system that takes my autism and makes it work for you. Okay.
I love it. So, it's your superpower, Don.
That's my superpower. But, and the thing is, the reason why I need a computer is because I was never good in math. Never. Okay. So not only that, but when I first started doing this, it was hard for me to even put two sentences together. Sometimes my brain does not keep up with the thoughts that I have. I don't always have the words to express what I'm thinking. But over the years, I've gotten better at that. And I'm saying, God, what are you doing giving this to me to share with others when I don't speak very well? So listen, if I can do it for Moses, Don, I can do it for you.
Hey, Don, you know what's funny though? You and I, Don, are kind of alike in one way because now people that are hearing me now may not believe this, but I never liked speaking in front of people because I was born with a stuttering problem. Now, some of you all may have picked up on it today, but Don, I stutter. And sometimes real bad if I'm nervous or if I'm excited.
Wow.
So a lot of times when I'm talking about this, I get so excited and I start stuttering. Mm-hmm. So Don, I'm the same way, man. But when God blesses it and when God touches it, or what I like to say, when God blows on it,
yes,
game over. And again, I hate to keep saying it, but I kind of don't. You guys joining Don and I January 31st, and we're going to put it in the chat in Orlando, Florida. Can you imagine joining together what Don and I do? Because watch this, Don, I'm gonna thank you on a public stage right now because the P.I.L.L. method is so powerful. Most of y'all think this is all Don does in terms of the finance side. How do you guys think I get most of my clients? The people that want to house the homeless and the displaced and the military veteran and the elderly adult. When you guys sit down with Don for your consultation, one of the questions he's going to ask you, what else do you want to do when you start recreating all of this money because we're crushing your debt? A lot of times, Don is leading people to us. Dornico Rigel is one of our biggest stories that came from Don, ex-military veteran, and he tells y'all this, not me, but he tells y'all that he wasn't so financially stable. His family wasn't all the way intact. But when he got into this shared housing model, now, Don, he's doing so successful. He's all over the news now in terms of being the affordable answer for housing in his city in Dayton, Ohio. He's wholesaling real estate now. He's a part of the P.I.L.L. method. So what I'm telling you guys, Don is a connector. Don is allowing you guys to be connected to us. Most of you all wouldn't know me right now if it wasn't for Don. Can three of y'all be honest enough in the chat and say, wow, Derek, yeah, you're right. I didn't know you, Derek, until you came on Don's stage. And that's what Don does for people, even beyond this financial thing. And I'm going to wait on that one. I want to see 3 people that is honest enough to say, Derek, like, I want to know you, bro, if you wouldn't came here today or you wasn't on Don's agenda for today. And that's what Don does. So again, guys, January 31st in Orlando, Florida, we want to see you guys because Don and I want to be partly responsible for the change in your life that you're going to see. We're smart enough to give God all the glory, but God uses man to partner with everybody. And right now, God has chosen Don and myself to help you guys change your life starting January 31st.
So Shay, I got something for you. There's something in the chat. William saying, Dr. Don, I signed up for Orlando, but I did not see the time of the event. Can you talk to them about the technology that's involved in letting people know what's happening?
Listen, if you've ever texted the 256 number, right, to get information on the event, you will have a whole AI phone agent that's giving you the detailed information on the event happening. Our team also has information as we're finalizing all of the details. Our goal is to have you all with a timeline of the day of events. So as soon as that is done, you all will receive text messages. So make sure that your phone number is active in the system by texting the number. Don, I do not have it in front of me. Give me 1 second. I want you all to text. If you are interested in attending the P.I.L.lars of Prosperity Conference, I want you to text the word PILL, P-I-L-L, to 256-215-9496. And again, if you are someone that has already registered, I want you to go ahead and text that word again. So that way we can update your information and get your phone number on file. You should have been receiving emails with information, including how to get your room at the Hotel Landy, as well as some of the things to do in the area, restaurants and all of that good stuff. We are moments away from Universal Studios, Icon Park, which is a walk away from the location as well. And there's so much to do. International Drive is at your doorstep. So again, the event will start with registration at 9 a.m. We will immediately start all speakers. Well, Don will be breaking the ice of the event. All right, Ice, 10K.
There you go.
He will be breaking the ice at 10 a.m. on the dot.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have Perry Jeffries, who will follow Don. And then we will go directly into lunch after that. And then Derek and I will bless you post lunch. And then Don will come back and finish out the day with Q&A and all of that amazing stuff. But the event will kick off with registration starting at 9 a.m. And we will go directly into the event, the speakers at 10 a.m.
Listen,
but you will be receiving that.
This thing is officially over at 5 p.m. that day. But I will stay, all right? I will stay until, the sun sets. I'm letting you know that we're going to end, well, I should say we're going to end about 4, but I will be available until the sun sets. So we're going to be asking your questions. Everybody will have an opportunity to get their questions answered until sunset on that Friday. I want you to know that we're going to be there to take care of you and all of your questions. So it's going to be a full day. It's going to be a great day. I'm looking forward to all of you. And tell this, Shay, if they buy a ticket, are their name and number automatically put into your system, or do they have to do something special?
Correct. The name and number is automatically placed in the system. I just want to make sure that they are placing a cell phone number in there where they can obtain SMS.
Okay.
So, like I said, because we're going to convert from email to SMS starting this week, starting on Friday. So you're going to start getting a rollout of text messages from us.
Okay.
As we get closer to the event, we divert from email to text messaging.
Okay. Listen, I understood that more tickets were sold yesterday. So listen,
Yes.
folks, we're getting to that point where we do not want to have to tell you that we're sold out and you can't get a ticket to this event. Please don't put us in that position. Please.
And don't put us in the position to have you eating from the
And guys, I hate to say it, but unfortunately, it happens every time we do this. So let's repeat this, and I'm gonna pretend y'all never heard it, guys. This Friday is the last day to purchase your ticket. Somebody's gonna wait until Saturday. Somebody's gonna call us on that Monday. Guys, please allow Shay to run this event the right way. Guys, a lot of catering, a lot of numbers and things go into this. So if we can have everything in by Friday, that'd be great. Not saying that Shay won't give y'all grace on maybe that Saturday, but I can't promise nothing after Saturday. But Friday is the absolute last day. And again, we live by a phrase that says, don't wait to be great. So again, if you got the opportunity to be great, like, why would you wait on that? So if I were you all, again, God is also waiting on somebody to just move in faith and just buy the dadgum ticket. And just say, you know what, come hell or high water, nothing's going to stop me from going to this event. Nothing's going to jump on my calendar before this event. And no excuse, unless it's a family emergency and somebody passed away. I wouldn't let nothing come in between you guys coming to this event to soak up this information. As Don says, that we're going to be there even afterwards, still answering questions. Don's got you guys until sunset or right at that time, and then he's out of there. But again, guys, we look forward to seeing you all. I also want to say thank you for people that also did what we live by, and it's called Move at the Speed of Instruction. I want to say thank you to everybody that's already purchased the ticket and that you're looking forward to coming. Thank you for your travel arrangements, and thank you for the people that are at least thinking about it because of what you've heard today and combining Don's and I's information together. This will be an absolute great event, and don't let it be one of these ones that you say, well, man, I sure hate I missed it, because Don's doing a city tour of this thing, and I have no clue where he's going next. For Orlando, you guys are up right now. Okay? Back on you, Michelle and Mr. Don.
I do have one thing. So, Mr. Penn, you should have received a text message already today or even yesterday requesting your meal option. So make sure you check your text messages because you should have been, that was sent to you this morning, I believe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking so forward to this, meeting people in person. But this is, I'm going to put on the screen Diversitech. All right, there it is, Diversitech. This is my next event. That's going to be in, Philadelphia. I'm speaking on somebody else's stage, so you have to figure out what's going on. That's not my show. I'm speaking on somebody else's stage. But listen, I want to see you in Orlando because I'm not limited by the time they're giving me as one of the speakers in Philadelphia. But that's what I'm doing next. But I want to see you I definitely want to see you in Orlando for this reason. All right. We're going to be sharing some information that we've never shared at all anywhere else. So that's why you want to be there. And what if you can't be there? What if you can't be there? Buy a ticket for somebody else. Go ahead and buy a ticket. We'll make sure it gets into the hands of some worthy person. Maybe you can't be there, but somebody, because we've had people do that. We've had people who bought a ticket for somebody else. All right. They bought a ticket for themselves.
Yeah, we've seen that. You're absolutely right about that. Yep.
Go ahead and say, I can't come, but I want to buy a ticket for somebody else. If you decide to do that, here's what I'm going to do for you. You let us know that I'm buying a ticket, but I can't come. I'll make sure that you get one of my books and you'll get a consultation for the regular price is $150. For the discounted consultation, you'll get an hour with me for free if you buy a ticket for someone else. You get my book and an hour with me for free. Okay? So go ahead and do that. Yes.
Hey, Don, and if I little instruction on that, guys, in my opinion, if you're going to be a blessing to somebody and pay for somebody else, just make a small deal with them that they also take a bunch of notes and bring it back to you. That's also how you can ensure they paid attention. So again, if I were you and you're going to bless somebody, and I think God is going to bless you for doing that, make a small little deal that they do take a lot of notes and bring it back to you. How does that sound, Don?
I like it. I like it. So, and if you don't know, even if you don't know anybody you want to send to our event, buy a ticket anyway. We'll make sure that it gets into the hands of some worthy person. Okay. All right. Listen, folks,
All right, good stuff.
We're getting close to that time. But I'm going to be right back here next week, Lord willing, to give out more valuable information. I wanted to talk about how valuable an interest-only loan was. We don't have time now. What else did we want to talk about? I didn't have the chance. Never refinance to a lower rate. Okay. Let's see, what else? Pay off your debt in 7 to 9 years without, this one is good, without changing your budget and without sacrificing lifestyle. Listen, folks, there are people out there that are telling you, you have to eat beans and rice. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. You have to drive a 30-year-old car. You've got to sell pizzas at night to get out of debt. You don't need more money to get out of debt. You need to pay less interest. We're going to show you how to do that. I didn't even get a chance to talk about that credit cards are better than debit cards. So I want to be able to tell you about all of these things, all right? But especially, you need to know, everyone needs to know how to think like a bank. Think like a bank, where bankers borrow money and they borrow our money. And then they lend that money out. They make big profits with our money and then pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of our money. I'm saying let's use the bankers' money. Let's go and learn how to borrow their money, make big profits with the bank's money, and then pay them pennies on the dollar for the use of that money. There's no reason why we can't learn to do that. This is the benefit of paying off mortgages in 7 years through Autism Insights. I'm so grateful today for my autism. It wasn't always that way, because I didn't know what I had. I didn't know why I was different. I do remember this in grade school. I'm going to tell this story. I was in grade school, and the first time I realized something was going on was I wasn't allowed to go to recess because I was always behind in finishing my work. So the teacher says, Don, you can't go to recess today. Grade school. But as soon as everybody went out to recess, everybody went out to play, there was nothing to distract me. Not only was I done with my work, but it's the best work they ever saw from me at that point, because there were no distractions. Not only do I have autism spectrum disorder, I found out that I'm ADHD as well. So I'm easily distracted. So now that I know this, I didn't know it then. And when I was in grade school, it was they didn't know how to treat that. Okay. I was the guy that was always talking out of turn. I was the guy that couldn't sit still. I was the guy who was always standing in the corner because I couldn't stop talking. That's the guy. That's me. And I want to tell you, if you have a child or a spouse or anybody that you know that has autism of any stripe, because it's a spectrum, know this, that a lot of people who come up with the inventions that you use today, the groundbreaking information that you employ today, a lot of the things that we're doing that are innovative and the inventions are coming from people who have found out that their autism is a superpower and it brings you these innovations. So that person that sits in the back of your office that seems to be antisocial, but they get a bunch of work done by not working with anybody, they're not antisocial. That's just who they are. That's how they can get things done. Chances are they have autism spectrum disorder. Read up on it. And it would allow you to interact with somebody who's more like me. And you'll know that how they respond to you, how they talk to you, how they react or not interact socially. They don't look you in the eye. It seems like when you're talking to them, they're looking at their phone or playing with something in their hands. It seems like they're not paying attention. But these are the things we have to do in order to pay attention. So know this. If you have a child who's like me, find out what they're good at. Find out what their superpower is. Help them to develop that. And I'll tell you, when they go to work, they will not work a day in their lives if they find out what their superpower is, because it will not feel like work. I absolutely will be doing this forever. I was a firefighter for 17 years. But when I found out what I'm really good at, I let that go. I let it go, a pension and everything. I had to work 8 more years to get a pension. But when I found out what I was really good at is this, I left that to develop this for all of you. That's how I met Derek and Shay. I'm so glad I did. All right, folks, we're getting ready to get out of here. Derek and Shay, do you have a final word, or anybody else have a final question?
Just want to say thank you. I'll wait if they have any questions. I may even just start a little room real quick. But yeah, just super excited for the event. And Don, again, as always, man, I want to say thank you to you and your family, you and your wife, you and your team, you and the P.I.L.L. Method International for just having us, and also allowing us to speak and give what God has given us on January 31st. So just want to say thank you and just encourage anybody. Again, if you love God, love people, and you always wanted to get into real estate, the ILF model is the best way to get into it. And we call it shared housing or co-living or communal living, but it's essentially you taking a 4-bed, 2-bath home or a 3-bed, 2-bath home, and where you're taking people from homeless to hopeful. And again, we're doing this with the help of social workers, case managers, and social service providers. So to me, it's one of the easiest and best ways to get into real estate because it also has meaning behind it. It's actually more of a ministry. So again, if you always kind of wanted a ministry, but you're not a preacher or a pastor, this is the next best thing, guys, if not better. Because I'm not a pastor or a bishop, but I have a ministry, and that's my shared housing program. So if you guys want to get into that, you guys can follow us at Forston Consultants on Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube. We're live every Monday and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. And again, just thank you guys so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Hey, Derek, you can start another room if you wish, or you can take over this one. Which would work better for you?
Really? They would let me just kind of stay here and hang out?
Listen, man, I'm in charge today.
So how would I end it? So if 5 or 6 people tell me that they wouldn't mind if I stayed and did a little bit more of our teaching and just introducing who we are, we can do that. I don't know who I need permission from, but if you the guy, Don, let's go.
Listen, so when you're ready, since you're moderator in this, if you end the room, it's ended.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so guys, I'm gonna hang out. If 5 or 6 of you guys want to kind of continue to hear what we do in terms of the shared housing model, because I'm still going to combine the P.I.L.L. method and encourage you guys to come see Don and I January 31st. You guys can just hang out a while. And all of the new people that just came, if you guys want to learn about real estate, shared housing, and the love of God and how to mesh it all together, let's hang around for another 20 to 25 minutes or so.
All right, folks, you heard it. You heard it. If you want more information on this, I'm getting ready to get out of here. But Derek and Shay are willing to take this over. Listen, you want to know more about this model. I will be back next week and doing this, giving you more information. But if you, in between time, make sure you follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on, let's see, LinkedIn, and possibly again on TikTok if they bring it back. So we're out there on social media.
TikTok's been back already, Don.
Oh, listen, man, I guess I'm slow.
Yeah, it was down for about 13 hours and it came back.
That's still 90 days. They're still trying to figure it out. They got 90 days. 90 days, y'all.
All right, folks. Listen, we're back on TikTok. But anyway, I just want people to know that I care about you. I want you to know because you deserve to know. You deserve to know how to borrow money correctly and stop giving away your hard-earned cash. Stop bleeding. Stop losing the money you should be handing over to your families as a legacy. Okay, stop losing it and learn how to borrow money at a discount. We're going to be here to teach you. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to be out of here. I'm going to play my theme music, but Derek, right after the theme music, you can go ahead and take over, okay? So, folks.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I see Jonathan finally said something at the bottom. So I just want to say thank you to Jonathan as well for allowing me to speak in this room. So appreciate that, big bro.
All right, go ahead. So look, folks, go to popclive.com to get your tickets. And also do not forget to go to ice10k.com. Ice, the number 10, the letter K.com to get your free savings report. I want you to know that someone who's been watching us for months and years said, I finally got around to filling that out. It's a good thing, but they would have been so much further ahead if they had started right away. Don't be like that person. Get a free savings report today. All right, folks, we'll see you next week, okay?